West Indies, 206 for 3, very, very well placed indeed.
Yeah, well, they are well placed. And who would have thunk this at the start of the Test match? Very unfancied after their schmozzle at Edgbaston. Sure you'd agree, I guess, that it's been a turn up for the books, hasn't it?
It has, and it's just cricket, isn't it? I mean, you can't write anybody off in this game.
How about, as Fazir just mentioned just at the back of the box, if you went around the world and say who is the least likely player at the moment in Test cricket to be the last guy to bring up his century with a straight 6?
And his 50.
Yeah, I think Kraigg Brathwaite
I know.
would be fairly high up the list.
Yeah, he would. But he's just shown exactly the sort of discipline that England are crying out for from members of their batting lineup. 206 for 3. He's on 102. Shai Hope 85. And England found wanting to didn't take a wicket all afternoon. Andrew?
Yeah, Kraigg Brathwaite, 3 sixes and 38 Test matches before today.
Peels off 2 on a day, with bring up his 50.
One reason I'm enjoying Brathwaite as well, and it's a personal one. Tony Cozier, dear Tony Cozier, in his last series for him, I remember him speaking quite fondly of Brathwaite. Right. He was one of the few guys who showed a bit of steel and looked like he held a bit of positive light for the West Indies. So I'm sure dear Tony's looking down on him today. He'd have enjoyed that straight 6.
He certainly would. He certainly would. 206 for 3, so just 52 behind, and with lots of batting to come, because one of those 3, of course, is Bishoo, the night watchman. So they'll bat a little bit deeper, and Moeen's going to have a bowl from our end now. Mid-on's dropped back a bit. There's a deep backward square leg in front of the West stand, where a ball is being bounced around, and in goes Moeen. And first ball off the tee, it keeps very low. Pitched halfway down, or almost, very short anyway. And scuttled, and Hope was going to pull that, and had he pulled it, then surely he'd have been out, because it was almost, for those of us who are lucky enough to see Carl Hooper dismiss Nasser Hussain LBW in Trinidad one Test match, it was almost a repeat of that. 206 for 3. He was very fortunate there. Moeen bowls again. He's on the back foot, playing into the onside. That on that occasion, that's the funniest LB I've ever seen. It did not get off the ground.
When you say lucky enough, you mean those lucky enough to actually be in Barbados,
Absolutely.
not just to laugh at Nasser Hussain.
Yeah, it was Trinidad, it was Port of Spain. In goes Moeen, bowls again, and that's pushed away by Hope and picked up by the bowler. It was a belter.
Remember the famous partnership between the War brothers against the West Indies? I think that was in Jamaica. I think Mark Waugh was out. An actual P-roller from Carl Hooper as well. He obviously did it on purpose every now and again.
Yeah. Moeen floats this one up with a bit of turn. It was bounced a bit more, actually. Hit up near the splice of the bat.
Now, I must say, I'm very happy with Moeen Ali's field here. The field that I completely bemoan is that he has an extra cover in and no point, but he's got a point and no extra cover this time. I really enjoy that field.
Moeen bowls, flicked away out to mid-wicket, who's fairly deep there, but there's a bit of cover around, so he can afford to be. Why do you enjoy that?
Because when there's some turn in the wicket, you want, and you have to be full. Heading is quite slow. You want to be full. You want to tempt the man to drive, and so you leave that big gap. So there you go, huge gap, extra cover, drive me, and you try and bowl him through the gate.
Moeen bowls, turned away into the onside again, and there's no run. 206 for 3, much as you bowled Johan Blake the other day, I think. It was similar.
Absolutely. I bowled Johan Blake the other day. I had to get my own back.
His eyes lit up.
Had to get my own back. But if you have the field the other way around, if you have an extra cover in and no point, it encourages the batsman to block the ball you want him to drive and wait for one to be short and wide, and then he can just steer you. Yep. It's a field that a lot of off-spinners go for, and I despair whenever I see it. It's cutting out a huge wicket-taking opportunity for the bowler, but not today. Moeen, well done. Well done, Mo.
Yeah, good stuff. Andrew?
Mike Kraigg Brathwaite, the 7th player to reach a 50 with a 6 and 100 with a 6 in the same innings in a Test match. Ken Barrington famously reached 100 with a 6 4 times in his Test career.
Okay.
He did it in 1968 in Port of Spain against West Indies. Bruce Taylor of New Zealand. Haroon Rashid of Pakistan.
Gary Balance.
No, not Gary Balance. Gary Balance reached his maiden Test 100 with a 6 is what he did at Lord's.
Right, so what was the case?
So
this is 50 and
50 and oh
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
okay, right.
Imran Khan, Chris Gale, the other West Indian in Perth,
wow.
2001.
Here's Stokes coming up the slope then, and bowls to Brathwaite on 102, and now 103, because it's nudged that away down to Woakes at fine leg.
And the most recent one would have been Faf du Plessis against New Zealand in Port Elizabeth in 2013.
Well, I think that's the most surprising list I've ever heard.
There are quite some surprising nominations. I mean, Ken Barrington's is quite a surprising one.
Faf du Plessis, Ken Barrington. I mean, Chris Gale, yes. Probably he'd be everyone's first choice for that.
Yes.
But none of the others would even get in my top 100 picks, I don't think.
Wonderful.
I've never seen Faf hit the ball in the air.
Haroon Rashid, he was a player. Dashing Pakistani, 207 for 3. Hope on 85, Stokes on his way, bowls to its edge but runs along the ground, and comfortably so, down to third slip.
Did you hit any sixes in your career,
Yes.
Jonathan? Do you remember how many?
I remember hitting, very pleased to hit Neil Foster for 6. It was a bit of a swipe, but we always had a bit of a battle
nonetheless.
for it, and I stuck him over mid-wicket for 6. I was very pleased with that.
Because normally fast bowlers can remember,
Yeah.
like batsmen can remember how many first-class wickets they've got.
Greg
I've got
Thomas.
3. He was quick, he
Yeah,
was,
I know.
Agus.
Hooks in for 6, in comes Stokes, bowls, and that's edge for 4, through third slip, and Stokes looks towards the heavens, and that's not going to help him, I'm afraid. Cook comes back to pick the ball up, 47 behind, 211 for 3. I should add, the ball didn't actually go where it was supposed to go when I hooked Greg Thomas for 6. It actually went over second slip.
That is the sign of a quick bowler.
Yeah.
Edged over second slip for 6. He was lightning at one point,
It
wasn't
was
he?
quick.
Yeah.
This is when he was playing for Northants.
Remember, I encouraged Jimmy Anderson to hit his first 6 in any form of cricket in a test match at Centurion. He hit lap slug Paul Harris.
Right.
It was his first 6 in any form of cricket.
Ever. 211 for 3. Stokes looking rather cross now. Comes in, bowls, and Hope's beaten outside the off stump. There has been a fair amount of this. There has been some playing and missing. But the real point being that the batsman has put it away, and they've just carried on, focused on the next ball, and kept going. And that is absolutely what it's all about. And I think he might have changed his shirt during tea. Hope looks very white,
Stings,
dazzling
isn't he?
white. Yeah. And he waits for Stokes to wheel round that condemned stand behind him. And up comes Stokes now, past the umpire, turns away towards mid-wicket. It's going to come down at the end of the match, or start to come down, not just to blow it up or anything.
So I
but
was
start
about to say, it
dismantle
actually is condemned. It's not just
Yep.
been nicknamed the condemned stand.
No, it is actually condemned. So there'll be a gleaming new one there for the Ashes Test here in 2019.
But they've still sold seats in it, though, which is good.
Yes.
It could fall down around you. It's at the restricted viewing seats
I'm
for
not
this
sure if
test.
it's that condemned. But if it's, I think,
It's okay for the start. We can't guarantee you'll have a good view by the end of the play.
no, I think health and safety have passed it. Stokes comes in, bowls, pushed away out to point, and another single for Hope, who goes to 90 now, 212 for 3, so 69 runs behind. Because it used to be the members area, not sure if it still is. They are members who sit in those seats there, but of course that used to be where we all lived. There's a press box there.
Changing rooms are down there as well.
Absolutely, it's where the
Down
Hopes
in
are.
the basement. You couldn't
Yeah.
see the ground from the change rooms. They were the old rugby league change rooms as well, that Leeds Rugby League obviously played straight out the back. So you'd share. There's a famous story of Yorkshire sitting down having a team talk. Kevin Sinfield of Leeds just wandered in and went to the toilet half through. Sorry, lads. Leeds must.
Yeah, absolutely, that's good.
Another stat on Brathwaite. Since 1988, he's just the second West Indian opener to make 100 in England in a test match. Chris Gale got one in 2004.
Well, that is remarkable.
It is, yeah. 34 test matches, only 100 by an opener in England for West Indies.
Amazing.
212 for 3. So
I think I
a
got
new
one.
ball is due in 11 overs.
I think I got my rugby league player. I think it was Keith Senior.
Was it?
Are you up on rugby league?
No,
I guess?
not at all.
No. Fine game. Ryan Sidebottom's a huge rugby league fan.
Oh, is it?
Used to get very excited when rugby league was changed to the summer season. Every time we're up north, we'd go and watch a Super League game in the evening after a day's play.
212 for 3. And Hope on 90 now. These two have put on 177 together for this fourth wicket. Hope's over his bat. Moeen from this end runs in, bowls to us. 2 men at short leg now, but he's driven that beautifully through extra cover. That's the option he was given, and he took it on and played it magnificently. 216 for 3, just pushed it really, made sure he's absolutely over it. That was the key. The foot was to the pitch of the ball, wasn't going to come darting back through the gate. Beautiful shot, got really low into the stroke.
He did play it really well, but as Moeen Ali shouldn't be discouraged by this at all. This is exactly what you want him to do. You only have to just take ounce of flight and an ounce of speed off the ball and bring it back an inch or two and give it a chance to spin through the gate. So Moby, stick with it, please stick with it.
Here is again, 3 round the back. Bowl's not a good ball this time. It's brushed away into the leg side for another single. 217 for 3.
Shai Hope's highest test score now, beating the 90 that he made in Bridgetown against Pakistan earlier this year.
Well, he's one blow away from
joining
the
the list.
figures, yeah.
Well, that was a classy shot, though. I did enjoy that. Bent knee, really low, really into it. All the weight going forward.
It's
Now,
just the delivery that will go through the gate looks like a juicy half volley in the air. That's the beauty of it. Just need it to turn.
Brathwaite's on 103. In goes Moeen. Bowls again down the leg side. His pads out away. Not interested in that. It's picked up at short leg. Getting a bit noisy out there on the west stand. Our HMS Pinafore cast are wandering around, 1 or 2 anyway, with their sailors' hats on. In goes Moeen. Bowls right forward here again. Brathwaite pushing out towards mid-off. It doesn't get there. Moeen intercepts on the way.
It's good drift when he's getting outside off stump Moeen. He's getting some really good drift. When he drags it, when he doesn't finish his action off, when it's short, it tends to just drift in, if anything.
Moeen again, floated up, blocked away into the leg side by Brathwaite, fielded by Stoneman at short leg. It's hard to tell, but I think
yes, it is.
Crouching in there with all his gear on.
Who's played the least amount of games?
Indeed.
In you go.
Well, he's crouching there. It's quite deep, actually. Moeen bowls once more. Oh, it just runs past the leg slip. It'll go for 4. But no chance for Alastair Cook there to pull off a brilliant catch. It was just out of his right-handed reach. 221 for 3. So West Indies now only 37 runs behind. And what a day they're having. It follows on another one from yesterday. Of course, it could have been better yesterday, but in terms of turning things around, fighting back and so on, well, it did all start yesterday.
Yeah.
Shame for them they dropped those catches because they would have been in an immensely strong position now.
100 lead already, couldn't they?
Yeah.
I'd say that those who came yesterday will be back today. Will probably be delighted that drone's not here. The camera drone that looked brilliant all day. We saw it hovering above the rugby ground. When I walked to my car last night, I heard the noise it made. It made a right racket.
In comes Stokes in the sunshine. It's short and pulled away. Oh, almost hits the umpire. Took evasive action there at square leg. That's beautifully flicked off his hip by Hope. He goes to 99. It's uncharted territory. 1 away from his first Test 100. But he put that away with a plum. No problem at all. It was just a little bit short. And now, what's Root going to do? Try and get a bit of pressure on here, surely, on the man who's not reached a Test century before. Get that field really tight. Everyone on their toes. I'm sure that Stokes just maybe gets him to nibble a little bit outside the off stump. Doesn't look for it. Yeah, that man, that's what I'd like to see. This coming around a little bit finer now, so points come round to a deeper gully. That's the line I'd expect him to bowl, and hope that he looks for the ball and edges it. In comes Stokes, he's there and he bowls. Oh, it's a poor one. It's a poor one. And Hope reaches his first Test century. What a tremendous day for West Indies, and he's thrilled. Wow, look at that. Waving his bat, his helmet's off. And he's played really, really well. Both of them here. They put on 191 now. And Shai Hope, to the joy of his colleagues out there on the dressing room balcony and the West Indian supporters here, and there are some too, waving their flags. Terrific innings, 159 balls, 17 fours for Shai Hope, 100 not out at Headingly. And with Kraigg Brathwaite, really putting West Indies into a strong position here, 32 behind. 226 for 3. Stokes comes in, bowls, and Brathwaite pushes him up towards mid-off, getting onto the front foot. And there's no run. A bit of a chastening experience this is for England, frankly, at the moment.
And you know, he brought up the 100 with a tiny little flick off the hip. Very nice. Not a great ball from Stokes when a man's desperately looking for the single, but the ball before, the pull shot, sort of with the one leg picked up, something like Desmond Haynes or someone like that playing. It was a brilliant, very Caribbean-style stroke.
Here's Stokes. Bowls, and that's steered away past the man there at point. Westley is chasing down towards third man. They'll have a couple. Nicely fielded down there, just 5 yards inside the boundary edging. And it's 228 for 3. And so 30 behind then. What a turnaround.
Yeah, like you say, if they're taking those chances, obviously, if your auntie was drunk and all stuff like that, but 3 drop catches yesterday that cost them so many runs, they could have had a 150 lead by now.
In comes Stokes. Bowles turned away into the leg side. A little uncertainty there about whether or not to go for the single, but they do. 229 for 3. So I hope lots of Bayesians are watching and listening to this. So their 2 players here build on this partnership. 194. Saturday lunchtime in Barbados, isn't it? Yep.
On that beach.
Must be recovering though, but they'll be. I really hope they're following us. 229 for 3. In comes Stokes. Bowles pitched up and pushed away down to mid-on, and there is no run. So the end of the over, 229 for 3. Stokes will be cross about that gimme ball that he gave him there. Just really got to try and make someone get from 99 to 100 as hard as possible, especially for the first time.
Yeah. So when you just mentioned Barbados, then it's one of those words, one of those places that just invoke absolute happiness within inside you, don't they?
Yes.
I can't remember a day I've spent in Barbados and anything but delighted. Of course, the 2020 World Cup that we won over there.
Yep.
A test match played there. Glorious, glorious sunshine for 5 days. Very friendly people. A bit of a party island, I'll have to admit.
Lovely part of the world. 229 for 3. I've become a bit of a Grenada fan, though, if I'm honest. In goes Moeen. He bowls over the wicket, and that's pushed away to short leg, and there's no run. The test match that we had there last year, opened my eyes to that. It's a beautiful island.
Yes. Oh, there's lots, aren't there?
There are. 229 for 3. 3 men around the bat. Moeen trying to break this partnership. Brathwaite's on 110. That turns, but it's nudged away with the spin to backward square leg. No run there. 229 for 3. 29 runs behind England, with a lot of batting to come. Moeen, shadow to his left, swings his arm, goes in over the wicket again, and bowls. A little bit of turn, but it's too short.
Yeah, it's quite a slow wicket. Mo's really got to encourage that drive again. He did get hit for 4 through extra cover.
I like to think around the wicket and just toss one out there.
I think you're absolutely right, especially with the leg slipping.
Yeah. And he goes again, bowls, floating it up, turned away to short leg again, but to invite that drive too, just to see if he takes it on. A bit of a different kettle of fish from around the wicket too, isn't it? It just opens up that gap a bit. 229 for 3, 29 behind. Moeen on the Midland leg this time, pushed away into the offside. New ball is available. 8 overs after this one.
I think it will be taken straight away as well.
I think it will. Yeah. 229 for 3. I thought Moeen had got more wickets today somehow, though, and he has turned some balls sharply, and that's down the leg side again, and just padded away to forward short leg, and there's no run. So the end of the over, 229 for 3. 8 overs till the new ball. Graham Swan's going to offer some thoughts, but how well these two have played. 194 they've put on. Brathwaite's on 110. Hope is on 100. And coming in next to join you will be Dan Norcross.
One thing that Mo's struggled with today, perhaps every time he's bowled this summer, he's taken wickets. He's bowled a lot. He's got wickets when Joe Root's asked him to break partnerships. He's bowled a lot at the tail, so he's got a lot of quick wickets. So he's not used to actually bowling for an extended period of time without taking wickets. So he's not used to the patience that is required for that. Today I say he's extended period of time. It's 14 overs, none for 50 he's bowled, which doesn't sound a lot, but if you're used to picking one up every 2 or 3 overs, you just expect it, and when it doesn't happen, you start chasing it. I think that's what Mo's doing. His consistency today just isn't there. There is a massive wicket, a massive patch on this wicket. If you get it outside off stump on a good length, brings your short fielders in and turns, but he's just not hit it consistently enough. Hello, Dan.
Hello, here's Stokes with 3 slips in. His first ball is wide and full and wild, actually. Very well taken by sprawling Bairstow. And there is no run. New ball is available in 7.5 overs. Do you expect them to take it immediately?
Yes, I do. I'm looking at Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, see where they're warming up. Stuart Broad is jumping up and down, shaking his hips. And that's not because he's getting ready for the nightclub tonight. He's definitely going to have a bowl sooner or later. But Jimmy's not doing anything. He's stood at backward point.
With his hands behind his back, clasped together. 3
in
slips.
Fury, no doubt.
Yes. he feels like he might be a man for whom Fury is not an uncommon bedfellow.
Only on the field.
Yes, of course. So Stokes drops the ball in his run-up. Moeen Ali's been moved to a very short mid-wicket. There's a straight mid-on and a wideish cover. Shortish extra cover. Backward point, 3 slips.
Yeah.
Square leg and a long leg.
Maybe that's Joe Root trying to convince the batsman that something's going to happen that isn't. It's a good test of Root's captaincy, actually. His young burgeoning captaincy.
Hope on strike. Stokes is into him, and he gets one to pop nastily for length, and it's very well played by Hope. This will be by far and away the best innings he's played in Test cricket. He's had a 90 before this, but he averaged 18 in Test cricket. Only the one score of more than 50. And whilst batting may have been a little bit easier in the afternoon, and maybe we've been a bit critical of the English bowling for good reason, but before lunch, that was a testing session. And the ball was moving around, and the
played very well.
were heavy. Stokes is into Hope again, and he drives in the air, square of the wicket. Anderson's after it, going up towards the rope. He's going to haul it in. He does with a slightly unnecessary slide, but he likes to slide, and so why not? And they come through for 3. 232 for 3.
Don't be old-fashioned, Dan. Don't be a dinosaur. Of course you must slide, even if the ball's sat still. The modern player must slide.
Must slide.
I only tried it a couple of times and messed it up horribly. It used to hurt my knee. I'm not sure if your knee's supposed to come in contact with the ground, but mine did.
Well, that's the thing I always think, especially at these Test match grounds. They're pretty hard, aren't they?
No, it's supposed to be moving at such speed. You sort of you go onto your hip more than
aquaplane
anything.
it.
Yeah.
It's driven beautifully by Brathwaite for 4. That's a wonderful shot through extra cover. Wide of that short extra cover. I say for 4, hasn't quite got there yet, but it is going to.
It looked a bit uppish to me. I'm pretty sure this was sort of catching height and didn't go a million miles wide of mid-off. From Stokes, it was the in-swing. It was Brathwaite just leaning back. It was sort of head height, but 5 or 6 yards wide of the mid-off fielder. All the slips put their hands on their hips.
There's
Andrew.
only one man there. Yeah.
200 partnership up with that, 313 balls. First 200 partnership for the West Indies in Tests for nearly 4 years. The last one was in Hamilton.
84 years?
It's nearly 4 years.
Sorry.
Not for
No, I think Viv Richards had appeared in a few before then. Outside the off-stump through to the keeper, there's no run. Clive Lloyd, Alvin Kallichan and Lawrence Rowe were probably...
I'm sure when they chased 430 for 1, there was probably a different
The last one was in Hamilton against New Zealand in December 2013. Chanderpaul and Ramden.
Chanderpaul.
Talk now, Viv.
Yeah. Chanderpaul can still do a job now, you'd imagine. He's been scoring quite a few runs for Lancashire. Here is Stokes with 3 slips in to Brathwaite, who lets this go by outside the off stump and goes through to the keeper. No run, 236 for 3. What I really love about the way the West Indies got about this is that they've realised that Test cricket has got 5 days in it. Whatever Michael Vaughan might want to happen, there are 5 days in a Test match, so they don't need to go hell for leather. They've dug in early when it was difficult, and now they're gradually cashing in. They're within sight of England. They're only 22 runs behind. And, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that this is a West Indies side that's had precious little success against England, they haven't won a Test match in England since 2000, then you would, just looking at this, you took the names away, say 236 for 3 plays 258. Well, it's one-sided
Transport
match.
me back to 1984.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There's no run.
But no, perhaps it's the new Larry Gomes and Viv Richards and Desmond Haynes, Kraigg Brathwaite and Shai Hope.
Well, it could be. You never know. There's a leg slip and a short leg and a slip as Moeen Ali bowls to Hope, who goes back into his crease and works a leg side ball down to long leg for a single. 237 for 3. Hope moves to 104. So there were plenty of jokes going around about how, once the second Hope was out and West Indies were out of Hope, there was no hope. But there's plenty of hope here. There's a Hope on 104. Be a bit annoying if you're his brother tonight. Next ball goes back to his feet. That looks really close. He's surely going to give this. He's not giving it. Now I wonder if he's got outside the line. That turns sharply back into his pads. Moeen wants to go for it. Well, I say he wants to go for it. He did the appeal when he runs backwards. He rarely does that unless he really means it. They've got 6.5 overs to go until the 80, where they get 2 more reviews outside the line.
I'm a review for LBW. Can we start with the front foot, please?
It's the voice of Maria Erasmus. In full motion, I thought this was outside the
Thank you
line.
for delivery. Spin vision front on, please.
It's hitting the stumps, isn't it? I'm pretty sure, but I think it might, like his earlier one that was overturned. I think this might be hitting it outside the line. That's, oh, well,
Yes,
yes,
it is.
it's hitting him outside the line.
Outside, it was given not out as well.
With the Aldridge, please.
Had this been given out, I think it would still be outside the line. What he does do well, Brathwaite, is move his feet right out. The Aldridge is showing no bat involved whatsoever.
That's outside the line, isn't
Yeah,
it, I
definitely.
think? Even if there was the tiniest bit of ball on it, it would be umpire's call at best.
I think they knew this as well. Joe Root was quite reluctant to go. And
Yeah, it's outside.
Impact is outside. I'll go back to Chris.
But it was hitting
Chris,
middle and off.
impact outside the line. Please stay with your decision. You're on screen now.
He's playing it, and it was mentioned earlier,
Played it very
by
well.
Jeffrey. He's playing it like Amler. He's getting outside off stump.
It's very well played. I mean, that looked out to the bowler. I mean, the one this morning looked out to Moeen Ali straight away. It was the confident appeal, but neither of them have looked out to me as an ex-spinner as well, because of just the amount they turn. A guy needs to be right back on his stumps and look, trapped dead in front. So Brathwaite, got to say, well played. Very, very good decision. Very easy to give that out.
And he didn't. So England are out of reviews. Next ball is two leg side. Works around the corner and there's no run. And I suppose that's part of the danger for the off spinner, that once you've realised that your perfect ball that's hitting middle and off, he's not. Well, it's not hitting him in front.
No, I'll argue it's not your perfect ball because it's short. He's got him on the back foot.
Right. Next ball is again down the leg side, and he's adjusting this line further and further down the leg side, and has picked up a single, has Brathwaite. 115, a sprawling stop prevents more than the one. 238 for three. But you get my gist of it. I mean,
no. Your perfect ball is 6 inches fuller that drags him forward. Just because it's hitting the stumps doesn't mean it's a perfect ball. If he is going to go back and across the plate, you have to find another method of attacking him. It's as simple as that.
Could he come around the wicket?
Yeah, me and Aggers were talking about that. I was never a fan of going around the wicket until the last chance saloon. I didn't do it very often. But yeah, certainly now I'd be giving it a crack.
Worked into the onside again, the back foot to short mid wicket, and there's no run. Andrew.
Well, it's 3 reviews he survived today, Kraigg Brathwaite.
3.
Got a couple to go to catch up with Moeen Ali and Chittagong, who survived 5.
Was it
3 and 3 overs, wasn't it?
He was given out all the time in Chittagong, wasn't he, Moeen Ali?
By Dawid Malan.
Yes,
Yeah.
all of them wrong. Yeah. But so he's 2-1, isn't he, here? Because he was given out twice.
Yeah.
The last one, Chris.
That's right. Yeah.
Umpire Chris gave him not out. So very good.
Andrew keeps stats on DRS. Not many people do that. And that Dharmasena series was quite something, wasn't it? I think he broke records galore for overturned decisions.
Are they stats on umpires' DRS or players' DRSs?
Imagine he's got them all, hasn't he?
Mostly umpires, but we've got a record of each DRS, so the batsman, the bowler, the umpire. Yeah.
So you know which bowlers have called unsuccessfully.
Yes,
for referrals. That's where you were coming from,
pricked
wasn't
my
it?
ears up.
Yeah.
Because I used to pride myself that I was a very good DRSer.
Oh, should we try and check it?
Yes, but I think we should.
Well, this is extraordinary. I say
The
extraordinary.
numbers back up my memories.
It's not that extraordinary. There are 6 overs to go until a new ball could does become available. And so Tom Westley is back into the attack.
Not Joe Root, though.
Or Dawid Malan, just for something a bit different. With his off spin, and he's just guided back to the square on the offside. A good sprawling stop by Stokes at first slip, moving brusquely to his right, prevents the run. Shall we find out who are the most successful and least successful?
Well, I think we know the batsman who's least successful, Mr.
Watson, yes. Next ball down the wicket comes Brathwaite and works it up to wide, long on for a single. I always like the ones where they edge it.
I think Stuart Broad will be high up there on unsuccessful, both as batsman and bowler.
Oh yeah.
Yes, because everything's out when he bowls and never been out when he bats.
Well, I like when Steve Smith called for a referral when he knocked the cover off it.
Yeah.
Edged it.
Just in case. And then, well, that's partly because then they can then claim that when they do nick it, oh mate, didn't feel it, when they know they have, and they're just trying to kid everybody.
Is that it? Westley back into his crease goes Hope and plays it back to Westley.
I think the first 3 balls of this over have told me that Joe Root should bowl the next one from that end. Come on, Joe, don't hold yourself back now, you're skipper.
Indeed. Next ball's pushed into the offside. To make a very good point, fielded at short extra cover, and there's no runs. Ball's thrown back to the keeper because Root's picked up some test wickets, hasn't he?
Some good wickets. I mean,
yeah.
Someone's just fallen off the chair behind us in the box.
Do you know the great stat about him? I think he might just have knocked himself off his own perch by taking a wicket recently. Ball worked into the onside, no run. Have the highest bowling average for a man who's got a higher batting average than his bowling average.
Joe Root?
Yeah.
It's a remarkable stat.
Yeah, don't you love that?
I don't get it, but
But it's
you
the
have
most
to explain
expensive
it.
all-rounder of all time. But
Oh,
ball
okay.
played back up the wicket, and there is no run. So you're an all-rounder if your batting average is higher than your bowling average.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
And he's got the highest bowling average for a man whose batting
Right.
average is higher. Some Kia Super League scores. Surrey Stars, oh, you don't just show me that. They're struggling on 37 for 4 in the 9th. They're not struggling, they're out of it. Chasing 172 to beat Loughborough. Beaumont and Lizelle Lee are both out. The Yorkshire Diamonds are 38 for 5 in the 8th, chasing 139 to beat the Vipers. So at the moment, it'll be the Vipers going straight through to the final on that basis, with Surrey playing, Western Storm are 80 for 4, chasing 123, 84 in the 11th. So it looks like they're going to go through. Next ball is worked into the onside and fielded at short mid-wicket. There's no run. So that would mean that both the Vipers and the Storm would be in their second Super League finals day running. Last year, the Loughborough Lightning were the other team. But Surrey Stars have already booked their place on finals day. Next ball's worked, backward a square on the onside, and there's no run.
I heard you moaning about the Surrey
Yeah.
game. I thought it was a good decision from Saggers.
Did you?
My soft decision would have been not out as well for the diving, sprawling fielder who took it on the half volley.
Have you got no... Do you not take the word of a fielder any longer, Swanee? I
No.
mean, has honour gone out of this game? Next ball is swept off. Has it gone off the field or not? It's gone down through long leg. It's heading towards the boundaries. It's dived. Oh, what a brilliant dive. He's flipped it 15 yards away from himself, and he's going to have to come back, retrieve the ball. In the meantime, they've come through for... How many runs did they come through? Is it just the two? Just the two. They're going to check to see if... is that Dawid Malan down there?
No. I think it was a good stop, to be honest. Yeah, this word of the fielder
Yes.
is nonsense.
Honour.
The honour of the fielder. I remember Ricky Ponting losing the plot of Brisbane because Alastair Cook didn't take his word that he caught it. But this is the same person who doesn't walk when he bats, lets the umpire make the decision. How can you have it both ways? If there's ever been a have your cake and eat it situation...
Hang on, you're talking about an Australian. We're talking about a man from Surrey.
Yes, exactly. Surrey ape Australia and everything they do.
No, they do not. We're some of the
do.
finest and noblest
Collars
men.
up, prickly
Douglas
characters.
Jardine came from Surrey. Douglas Jardine.
Jardine nearly caused a war.
Yes. Yeah, well, one of them was just whining constantly. Next delivery is defended off the front foot into the onside. And there is no run. 2:41 for 3. As Jeffrey rejoins us. Graham Swan departs. I bet Jeffrey has a correct respect for Douglas Jardine, as Moeen Ali comes into bowl with a leg slip and a forward short leg and a slip, tossed up and defended back up the wicket. There's no run. So Swanee's implying that Douglas Jardine nearly started a war unrighteously. Unrighteously.
Well, one of my favourite captains of all time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeffrey. Moeen Ali bowls again, worked into the onside again by Brathwaite. There is no run, end of the 76th over, 2:41 for 3. Brathwaite 118. Shai Hope has 104.
You've got to give a man like that credit.
Absolutely.
For devising the plan within the rules of the game. And he didn't bowl bounces, he bowled Howard to about heart level into the ribs. What was difficult about the body line, because of the rules at the time, you could have as many men as you wanted on the leg side, so with a lot of people catching. Now they changed the rule to only 5. Makes it a lot easier.
They changed the rule because they didn't like to see Bradman getting out so often, didn't they? As Tom Westley is in, and he nearly beats Hope, who comes forward and just
Played great, these two.
Back up the wicket.
To the off spinner, they've played them easy because they've done like Amler. They've got batting on off stump, got right outside off stump.
Wesley in once more, and again
like
right outside off stump, and there's a peel for a catch behind as that ball snakes past the outside edge.
Not out. You've whole hope England. They're getting outside off stump like Amler did when he got his 200, was it, at the Oval. And when it turns, 300, when it turns, hits them on the pad. They're playing a shot outside off stump.
Wesley again with that forward short legs driven back to him, and he fields off his own bowling, no run. Great example of that with the referral, wasn't it? And yet again he got outside the line.
Playing a shot, ball hitting the stumps, but it don't count if you're outside when it hits you.
Here's Wesley once more, and that's a slightly faster, flatter ball which is defended on the offside.
That's how they used to play before the change in the LBW law in 37. You could only be out if the ball pitched wicket to wicket.
Was it 1937, was it?
So when the ball pitched outside off stump,
Westley bowls again back into his crease, and that turns ever so slightly down the leg side. Well taken
Spins it.
by Bairstow. Well taken.
yeah, that's why most of the batsmen that time played back. Got the big pad and foot in front of middle stump,
Because it
middle
didn't
and off.
matter.
If it pitched
Yeah.
outside, nip back or in swing, it's still not out. Had to pitch on the stumps.
How does an off spinner get an LBW in
Well, they
those
didn't.
days? Ball played back in the square on the offside for a single.
That's why many people don't understand the rules or how they've changed and how the game has changed, and judging players from bowlers, batsmen from different eras with different rules, different pitches, different size of bat is nearly impossible. You just make a personal judgment.
Would that be, Jeffrey?
1937 was the rule.
Thinking about that, would that be why left armers tend to be more effective? Because you'd be tending to pitch the ball on the stumps, wouldn't you? And then
Swing it
straightening
in.
it. Similarly, a leg spin like Titch Freeman or something would be
pitching
would
it
be
on the
pitching it on the
stumps. Nearly
stumps.
all leg spinners. Off
So,
spinners weren't
off-spinner
very
didn't-
successful for a long time. Pitching it outside off stump, nipping it back, no good.
You'd have to bowl round the wicket and try.
Yeah,
and
but
do it
Sutcliffe
that
was
way.
brilliant playing the quicks. He's got back and across. He was a great hooker with Hobbs and Sutcliffe.
Moeen Ali, and again that goes down the leg side, is worked out to mid wicket by Hope, and there's no run. 242 for 3 in the 78th over. Brathwaite 118. Hope on strike with his highest test score. He's on 105. Forward short leg slip, cover point, mid off, and this ball just hits the pad. He can let it just do that. Just balloons off his pad to short leg. In England now, Jeffrey, just bowling for the new ball, aren't they? Which is available in
but
16 balls.
The horse has gone. West Indies in control. But a poor day bowling.
Moeen Ali once more. That's again too far down the leg side, and a stifled and futile appeal gets nothing as the ball dribbles out behind the square on the leg side and is retrieved. There's no run. Yes, it's not been great, but we're not going to take anything away from the West Indies.
No,
who've
they played
batted
beautifully.
splendidly. Shadows starting slowly to lengthen. The next ball is worked to that leg slip. Alastair Cook, who dives to his left and gets it on the bounce. That's what leg slip's there for.
Yeah, but I just think how much it's turned, but yet it's not getting people out. That's what happens a lot at Headingly.
I want to see him come around the wicket. I really do. As forward in defence comes Hope and plays it back at the wicket. No run, because every time he's getting it to turn, it's hitting the batsman outside the line of the off stump, because he's moving outside off stump. Hasn't he got to try to bring it back and straighten it from round the wicket? The next delivery is Hoiktat gets a thick inside edge, runs fine down towards long leg now. Get a single and no more. End of the over. 78 has gone. 243 for 3. Brathwaite has 118. Hope has 106. And a Fazil Mohammed, who this morning was all doom and all gloom, has now got a big beaming grin on his face, Jeffrey.
Well, yeah, he's bound to, and he's quite right. He's got to enjoy his own country. You know, countrymen playing well. I mean, there's no fun in any of us watching your team play like they did at Edgbaston. Batting, bowling, everything was just unbelievable. There were people like me, Curtly Ambrose, Nasser Sain, all kinds of players saying, you can only say what you see. And then when you see good stuff like this, you give credit to them because how well they've performed.
Westley starts a new over from the football stand end. To Hope gets the edge and drops short of slip. Ben Stokes, a few have taken the edge, have gone past the edge, but the most impressive thing about this effort, Jeffrey, is the way they've fought, the way
Discipline.
they've battled.
Disciplined, they've
And
stayed in the defence.
That's the operative word, discipline in their batting, which hasn't often been there. Slip in a short leg. Encouragement here for Westley, even with the second new ball being due very soon. Short of a length, tucked away forward a square for the single by Shai Hope. He goes on to 107. Brathwaite 118, and the score moves on to 244 for 3.
When you work so hard with discipline and determination to stay in, be careful about your shot playing when you first get in, you earn the right to, before tea, play plenty of shots then when you're in.
Wesley to Brathwaite, who's played a few shots in getting to his 100.
Yeah, but you earn it. Not by playing shots immediately, which is what they did at Edgbaston. They come in and throwing the bat at the ball and, looked terrible. This has been proper test match batting.
Pushing into the offside, the last delivery. Waits again on Wesley. In now, bowls to the right-hander, down the track, driving along the ground, out towards mid-off. He remains on 118, and the West Indies starting the day at 19 for 1. They are now 244 for 3, a partnership of 209, losing the night watchman Devendra Bishoo, caught behind of Anderson, and Kyle Hope taking its second slip off Anderson for 1 and 3 respectively, as Brathwaite on the front foot strokes out towards short extra cover. He's watchful to Tom Westley, who's in his fourth over. Yeah.
Westley, he spins it as well. I know the pitch is turning slowly, but he's bowled very tidily.
Surprised that Root hasn't bowled himself?
Well, I don't know, it's just, you've got to do some things how you think. And I can't say it's wrong to bowl Westley, he's bowled very nicely.
Coming towards the end of the 79th over of the innings, as Brathwaite turns the next delivery away, backward a square, no run. The West Indies lost 19 wickets in 76 overs at Edgbaston a week ago. Now, in the 79th over, they are 244 for 3.
They played like this at Edgbaston, they wouldn't have lost 19 wickets like that, would they?
Wouldn't have.
No, you can't blame people for saying what they saw.
Well, that's the thing.
You can't blame people for saying what they saw wasn't very good.
And indeed, the coach Stuart Law seemed to take exception to what Curtly Ambrose had to say. What do you say when a team loses 19 wickets in one day?
Just way they played as well. You have to be fair. Curtly's rowing. I've never seen a West Indies team play like that. I've played 3 tours of West Indies, never mind in England. Won the first tour, the Sobers Declaration Trinidad, 1-0. Drew the one in 74 under Kanai. And lost obviously to the great West Indies fast bowling side of 81. So I've seen everything. And wonderful cricketers. It's not just losing, that's part of sport, it's how you lose, isn't it?
How you play the game.
How you play the game, and that's what upsets West Indian supporters. They want to see some fight, some proper cricket, a competition. Get stuck in, and they've done themselves and their supporters proud today.
Over number 80 to be bowled by Moeen Ali, and Shai Hope is turning it away on the onside. I was reading in one of the articles after the Edgbaston Test match, comparing the great old days and talking about even in 2000 when on the last day of the Oval the ground was full, people were let in because of the interest in the series. Hope drives the next delivery away towards wide long on, gets one, that's all there'll be. He goes on to 108, Brathwaite 118, the West Indies now 245 for 3. In fact, the fans were let in because the feeling was on that last day at the Oval, as you might recall, Jeffrey, England were poised for their first test series victory over the West Indies in England since 1969, and they pulled it off. So everyone came in as Brathwaite on the back foot pushes the next delivery away on the onside. So everyone was let in because history was about to be made after all that dominance of the West Indies.
Absolutely.
They were about to lose a test match and the series. Moeen bowls to Brathwaite, turns it away, backward a square, can't get the run. He remains on 118, his 6th test 100, his 2nd against England, got one in Grenada 2 years ago. Joe Root also got 100 in that match. Now the England captain, as Moeen tosses up, he's driving into the offside, out towards short extra cover on the bounce.
I played in 69 then, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I must have done.
Garfield Sobers, the captain. The West Indies lost 2-0. It was the start of a difficult period for the West Indies, and it lasted mercifully short as Brathwaite on the front foot of the last delivery of the over plays it away towards the vacant backward point. He goes up to 119, gets the single. Hope is 108. The second new ball being brought onto the field at 246 for 3, just 12 runs behind England's first innings total.
Well, they have the opportunity now, West Indies, to drive home this advantage, this wonderful spell of batting. Don't give it away. Get a lead. I'll say again what I said earlier on. Today was the decisive day of who's going to win the Test match. Because let me tell you, West Indies get a 70, 80 run lead, 100 run lead. That third innings with England is under serious pressure. Then you really find out who has got the bottle to play, who's got the character in the England batting lineup, because there's 3 lads under serious pressure in the 2, 3 and 5, serious pressure.
We've been talking about that for some time now, and again they're going to be under pressure whenever that second innings gets underway. They're going to be under even more pressure in the context of the Ashes series to come.
Absolutely.
That is what is being talked about. So it's to the cause
and
of the
other
West
people,
Indies.
I was telling my wife weeks ago, you can't get away with it all the time when 2, 3 and 5 are not very good batsmen. Whoever it is, it's not going into any names, we've tried all sorts. But when you're 3 batsmen down and you're batting on Cook and Root, eventually there's going to be a moment when both your best players get out for not too many, and if the other 3 can't do it, you're just left with your middle order, aren't you? And it's going to hurt you somewhere along the line. You're going to lose it. And now they're under serious difficulty. I mean, the top 5 didn't make 100 runs here. The bottom 5 made about 160.
Joe Root 59, Ben Stokes 100, 159 runs out of 258. And it's a situation where there's no issue about taking the second new ball immediately, unlike for the West Indies at Edgbaston, where there was total chaos. Here's Jimmy Anderson bowls, and his first delivery takes the outer half of the bat for Kraigg Brathwaite and goes away towards backward point. There is no run.
Harder though when batsmen are in and the sun's shining at Headingly. That's the time to bat. You don't want to bat at Headingly in that murky light, like I got out against you here in '69, a murky, awful day. That Lashley got me out. I hope he's listening, Peter Lashley in Barbados. His little tiddly seamers. It was so dark I couldn't see the ball hardly.
What about when Bernard Julian got you for 97?
Oh.
Here comes Anderson, bowls on leg stump to Brathwaite, pushes it away.
That was a good ball in
mid-on.
Trinidad. I glanced it down the leg side, a bit too fine, and he dived and caught it one hand. Derek Murray, was it?
Derek Murray,
I think it was, down the leg. It was a good catch. Oh, okay, I shouldn't have nicked it so fine, but it was a glance.
Got 100 in the second innings, didn't you?
Yep.
Famous test match. England won that test.
Yeah.
The last test match for Gary Sobers. He was
When
dismissed.
you get hundreds, you want to win.
Indeed.
You don't want to be losing hundreds, do you?
Well, indeed.
You want to be winning
Brian
hundreds.
Lara scored double hundreds and lost for the West
dear.
Indies.
He was a wonderful player.
Anderson in bright afternoon sunshine bowls to Brathwaite. He's in behind it carefully, pushing it away out towards extra cover. I was interested, Jeffrey, you were talking about that rule. I think the rule might have been changed in 57, not 37.
No,
You correct
37.
Me. Okay,
37.
because I remember the time with the Peter May Colin Cowdrey partnership with
No, it was
Ramadan.
37 when they changed it.
Okay, because I was just
Convince
wondering.
me, Andrew. It was LBW law.
Yeah,
It was an experimental law in
was it?
35, wasn't it?
Here comes Anderson, bowls outside the line of the off stump, and Brathwaite lets it go through to the keeper.
the change after Cowdrey and May was not playing a shot.
Okay, right,
Yeah.
right.
So they changed it then as well, yeah.
And quite right. I mean, Sonny, I played him. He played for Lancashire, you know, some years later. When I started 63, I batted against him.
His
2
grandson,
matches.
Kyle Hogg, played for Lancashire for a while.
Yep. And he, is that, oh, right. And
Yeah.
didn't he say after May and Cowdrey,
Bloody footballers.
bloody footballers? I'm not sure I could say that on BBC. You can get away with it. Our captain's listening behind. But, yeah, and I agree, that's not right.
Anderson bowls on the line of the off stump, pushing away out towards mid.
And that went on for a long time, you know. In my career as 60s, there were people who didn't play at the ball. They just hid the bat. Just hid it, pretended. And there were people who only played forward about 12 inches, 14 inches, and they got the benefit of doubt. Today with DRS, there's no doubt. You know, they were absolutely plumb, but they got away with, cricketing, well, travesty.
Yeah, and that's why the point that you made about how things have changed in the
Yes,
game, the
they're always
rules, the
changing.
technology, the conditions, so many variables. Anderson bowls to Brathwaite, and he's in behind it once more. Repetitive so far in this over. Back along the pitch with the bowler, 246 for 3 at the end of the over. The first with the second new ball. I remember when it went out of vogue, this idea of just pushing the forward, putting the bat behind the pad and not really playing a shot. Darryl Hare, who was a controversial figure in his own right, calling Moeen Ali for throwing a few times. Jimmy Adams in both innings of the same test match against England in Guyana, 1998, pushing forward, bat behind the pad, was given out both times. It was considered controversial then, but he was
Yes,
dead right.
he was
It was
right.
perfectly in line, but
thought
it
he
was
was right.
it was not the done thing
No, it
to give a
wasn't.
batsman out.
No, it wasn't. And you see, I always say to people, how can you equate batting or bowling figures like on the Edgbaston pitch where it moved around and a flat pitch in Barbados? I mean, the sun shining and glorious for batting and somebody, each team making 500. they're totally different, aren't they?
There are too many variables in the game, Jeffrey, which is why when people get so worked up about who being the
Who's
greatest
better
ever,
than him,
and
yeah.
this one and what, it's the averages, it's the runs, but it's the conditions, it's the circumstances. You hear players often talking about their best innings was 68 out of 134 on a dicey track against
Yes.
world-class bowling.
Yeah, you got 100 against those West Indies quicks. And that
You
period,
valued it.
4 of them.
Here comes Stuart Broad with that second new ball. Ball's full and
Four.
driven back past the bowler. Will it go all the way? Might just be able to. In will. So again, he continues to time the ball well. Does Shai Hope has taken a few back past the bowler in the course of his innings. His maiden Test 100. He's 112. And the 250 is up. The West Indies are ahead of England now. And in fact, 8 runs away from England's total. They are 250 for 3.
Wow, it's a fantastic performance, doesn't matter how you put it. I mean, you can talk well about this because it is fantastic batting today.
Partnership of 215, the first double century partnership for 4 years for the West Indies since New Zealand. Broad in once more, bowls to Hope, and he's pushing defensively this time. The on-off stump out towards Moeen Ali at mid-off. 3 slips and a gully in place, a backward point, mid-off, mid-on, forward square leg and a long leg on what is a glorious afternoon here at Headingly, even more glorious
I
for the
get
West
the
Indies.
impression that if a nick comes, England had better catch it because there might not be too many. They're playing pretty good and the pitch is playing well with this late evening sunshine. It's playing good. And that's norm for Headingley.
Still, it's a scorecard that you wouldn't have seen very often for the West Indies of late in Test matches away from home. Anderson bowls and he's probably pulling the bat inside the line at the last moment. Shai Hope to a delivery that's pitched up. Lets it go through to Bairstow. Good carry still through to the keeper for the West Indies. Playing away from home has been a nightmare for such a long time, especially.
Hey, there's a lot of
England.
teams in world cricket lose abroad. Ain't too many win abroad. They win at home, don't they?
But it's happening too often, isn't it?
A lot.
That you're seeing that you used to see teams generally. We were talking about that earlier. A greater degree of competitiveness. Even if you would lose, you'd still see a lot more competitiveness from visiting teams. Anderson bowls and he's letting a delivery go by. He might have passed almost over the off stump through to the keeper. Stuart Broad it is, continuing from.
He's got better rhythm and all, hasn't he? I just watch him very careful. I watched him all day. He's had this morning. Couldn't get his rhythm right, but now it's going through. Timing is right. Like all of us, I say, batting, bowling, it comes and goes. We're human, but he seems to have good rhythm now.
Bowled a decent spell without any luck in mid-afternoon. Stuart Broad.
Just before tea.
Yeah. Bowl's now pitched up and he's into the drive is Hope. Didn't time it as well as he wanted and they're able to get the single out towards a wide mid-on. Anderson has to pick up 251 for 3, so just 7 runs away from now. And you can rest assured, Jeffrey, that the few West Indian fans over here who are having a look at on television, the thousands or the hundreds of thousands who probably would have switched off their radios, didn't bother to look when they woke up this morning, would almost be in disbelief when they realize at around midday back in the Caribbean that the West Indies are within 7 runs of England's first innings total with 7 wickets in hand. And there's a double century partnership at the crease as Brathwaite in behind the next delivery pushes it away towards mid-on. And the end of the over, the second over with the second new ball comes to an end. Brathwaite is 119, Hope 113, and the West Indies 251 for 3.
Well, I saw Peter Matthews this morning with his wife and 2 daughters. He must be your greatest supporter from Trinidad,
Absolutely,
isn't he?
absolutely.
He follows the
He's been
team
all over
everywhere,
the world.
Pete.
Everywhere, has endured the difficult times.
Oh, he's given me lifts in his van and all sorts. We chatted away. We had a big hug right outside our indoor school this morning. He just came up to me. He follows everywhere, doesn't he?
Everywhere. He goes
Proper
everywhere.
supporter he is.
He enjoyed the T20 successes in Kolkata last year when the men and women lifted the titles, but to see the team battling so well in the Test match will really give him a lot of heart. Anderson in now, bowls outside the off stump as Hope lets it go through to the keeper. Yes, Andrew.
Yeah, that horrible stat on the West Indies away from home since that win in Birmingham in 2000. If you take out Test matches against Zimbabwe and Bangladesh, they've won a few in Zim and in Bangladesh. They've won out of 76 Test matches, they've won 2 and lost 57.
Shimron cricket. I know, I watch and keep abreast, and they have been poor, unfortunately. They have. It's not a pleasure to say that. You can't make it up. You can't make it good reading.
Anderson bowls again and takes the outer half of the bat, playing with soft hands as he's so often done. Shai Hope into the gully, fielded on the bounce by Ben Stokes.
Like people at home, they shouldn't get cross at Curtly Ambrose for telling the truth. It's what he saw. He's probably hurt by it as well, having been a great West Indian bowler.
And I think that's why
Bouncer.
so many of those guys were happy to leave after Edgbaston, because they were fearing that it would be even worse, and they'd be happy not to have to be interviewed by the English media. What do you think, guys? What do you think? What do you think? Because they're tired of it. They're tired of having to experience these losses. Anderson bowls outside the off stump, and again he lets it go by through to the keeper. You're talking about men who are part of arguably the greatest cricketing unit that ever stepped onto a cricketing field.
I agree with that.
And then to have to see this happen over and over again, and to be asked the questions, and to be asked why, and to be asked to explain, they get tired of it.
Well, you can interview them tonight, and maybe tomorrow night,
Maybe they'll be
or even Monday, because you're in prime position to win now.
They wouldn't want to
You
get
can
ahead
only
of the
throw.
sun.
No, but you've got a great chance. I wouldn't say definite, but you're way ahead of the game.
Anderson persevering bowls to Hope, and that wasn't all that far from outside the off stump, but he left it go by anyway through to Bairstow with good judgment.
He's the one bowler in the English side. Every ball nearly, it looks as if he has a chance, doesn't he, getting somebody out. Sadly, I can't say that about the others. We give him the best, but you feel if you were to interview him quietly or chat to him, they would have to say, it wasn't our best bowling day, except for Jimmy.
Yeah, he certainly went past the bat quite a bit in the morning. He bowls, and this time he's offering no shot to a wider delivery. Is Shai Hope 251 for 3. And for the sake of cricket, it's good for England to have to go through days like this, because you go to Australia, they experienced it in India, where they were hammered from pillar to post, even though they were competitive in parts. They lost 4-0. It's about being competitive everywhere, not just being like a rampaging bulldog in your own yard. You've got to be able to go through these tough periods and come out at the end of it. Anderson bowls to Hope, was driving through the offside, runs for him here. This could go all the way. It will go all the way once again. His off driving has been excellent so far in the course of this innings. It's 255 for 3. Hope 117, Brathwaite 119.
Well, he didn't hit that perfect. It's a lovely shot. Didn't time it perfectly. But let me tell you, your Jamaican world-class sprinter won't catch the ball when it starts to go down that hill. It's like that bit of a downhill at Barbados, under the stand there. Once it starts going down there with a bit of speed, you're not going to catch it, are you?
Indeed. Johan Blake at his very best wouldn't have been able to catch up with that one, or even Usain Bolt.
Usain won't catch that.
Of his career.
Once it goes down there, you can just canter after it.
Indeed.
Don't expend too much energy, because you ain't going to catch it.
At the moment, I suppose Usain will be doing a lot of cantering, because he's coming to the end of his outstanding, incredible competitive career. But look out for the Jamaicans the next time around at the World Championships.
Oh, you've got some young ones, have you?
You've got some brilliant ones.
Oh, you always had good runners.
It's a factory there. As Broad starts a new over, bowls full-length delivery, and is driving through the offside again, almost off the bottom of the bat. Moeen Ali is giving chase. Should be able to pull it back in. Will be close. He'll get to it. Pulls it back a couple of meters short of the boundary, and it's 3 runs to Kraigg Brathwaite. He's 122, and the West Indies are now level at 258 for 3.
You probably think I don't keep abreast of your sprinters as a cricketer, but Jamaica, fine woman sprinter, Merlin Otti.
Yeah.
She was very good, wasn't she?
She was outstanding. And
yeah,
indeed
she was
running up until the age of 40. And because she wasn't selected for Jamaica anymore, she ran for Estonia.
I saw that. I kept abreast of her. She was very good.
In fact, I'm reading a book right now on Jamaican sprinting, and they talk about their culture of excellence in sprinting. It's even better than the culture of cricket, because cricket is number 3 in Jamaica when it comes to sports. As Broad bowls on the line of the off stump to Hope, and he's guiding it away towards gully. Number 1 is athletics, and more specifically sprinting. Number 2 is football. Number 3 is cricket.
Well, I can tell you, it didn't feel like number 3 when Michael Holding were bowling at
Absolutely,
me. Let me tell you,
absolutely.
it felt very fast indeed.
Very different period. But indeed, Jamaica, as Those who know the history of Jamaica in sprint, they've had Olympic gold medalists since 1948 in London at Wembley at the Olympic Games. Herb McKinley, George Roden, Arthur Wynne. Broad bowls to Hope, and he's playing it away square on the offside, out towards cover point. Great day here so far for West Indies cricket. Great day for Barbados, especially with 7 players from Barbados in this West Indies lineup. And there was a lot made again in Edgbaston about a test match with 8 Barbadians in the team and the team not being any good, and selectors, and talking about the chairman of selectors from Barbados, Courtney Brown, and allegations of favoritism and all sorts of things. And you can rest assured there will be a different song being sung the way things have gone so far towards the end of this day 2 of this second test match. Broad bowls to Hope, and he's on the front foot, driving out towards mid-off, picked up by Moeen Ali, and Vic Marks has replaced Geoffrey Boycott.
Yeah, what a day. From the outside, I'd have thought the most significant landmark, we know about Brathwaite a bit, don't we? But
yes.
for Shai Hope,
Absolutely.
Shai Hope,
Shai Hope.
to make that landmark century in the manner he's done from 35 for 3, when we all thought, here we go again, it's Edgbaston. That's the big leap we've witnessed, isn't it?
Absolutely. Broad bowls to Hope, and he's squeezing down on the delivery, guiding it away towards gully. There is no run. For the fact that so much is expected of him. Jeffrey Dujon, former keeper, has talked about him, says that he'll back him to the end because he sees him as a class player. Stuart Broad, the coach, has said the same thing. But before this innings, he averaged 18 and a bit after 11 test matches. And you would be reaching the point where you say, how much longer do you go with him? And then he produces the goods.
There is one very good parallel with that, and I shall just sum it up, Andrew. But I'll do it, well, Jack Callis, after about 10 or 12 test matches. Have a look at him.
As Broad bowls on the line of the off stump to Hope, and he plays it back along the pitch.
I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Jack Callis.
Indeed. And indeed, to be anywhere close to Jack Callis will be absolutely outstanding. So he's on 117. Brathwaite is 122. The West Indies 258 for 3 are level with England, 7 wickets in hand, and still quite a bit of cricket left on this second day. It's going to be more from Vic and then Simon Mann.
Yeah, well, even in the West Indian camp, if we're honest, I don't think they would have countenanced that it would go quite this well, especially when it was 35 for 3. And there's Joe Root there, he's having a chat with Jimmy Anderson. I mean, this is strange territory for England. They've dominated the last 3 test matches. Wickets have never been a problem, really.
We've had 2 test match days this summer with 19 wickets in them, but I think this has been the most remarkable day of the summer so far in test match terms. If I'd said to you this morning, Victor, 258 for 3, I don't think you would have believed
Well, what I
me.
said to you this morning, that England would take 257 all out.
Yeah.
They wouldn't take 258 for 3, however. And it's not as if England, like the West Indies, have dropped any catches as far as I can remember. There's one, I can remember one half chance off Moeen to Stoneman, more or less off the face of the bat at forward short leg. That's about it, I think.
Well, the 2 LBWs that were given out that were correctly reviewed and overturned.
Yeah, you can't really quibble with them.
Not at all. I'm just thinking in terms of
moments,
chances created or moments of the day.
I mean, they thought they had Brathwaite LBW, but it was a good review by him. He was hitting the stumps all right, but he was just outside the line.
Now Chris Woakes is going to bowl. He's bowled 10 overs today, so they need a big effort from him towards the end of the day. He's bowling from the football stand end, scores level, into bowl to Brathwaite, who hits this firmly back, and Woakes picks up off his own bowling, and there is no run. So Brathwaite 122, Hope 117. And what an opportunity this is for West Indies. One thing you feel is really in their favour is just looking at this pitch. It's not as if it's entirely blameless. 1 or 2 have kept low. I think the ball might turn a bit more as the game goes on. There's definitely some turn out there at the moment.
I mean, Headingly is living up to its reputation of somehow the runs come when the sun comes out too. And it's been a sunny day. I don't know what the forecast is for tomorrow.
Here's Woakes bounding in to bowl to Brathwaite, who nudges this away through backward square leg for 1, possibly 2. Moeen's closing in on it, and he sends in the return, and Brathwaite jogs back for the second. So 2 more West Indies ahead on the second day. And that's an achievement in itself after what happened a week ago. Last Saturday, losing 19 wickets in the day. And basically looking hopeless in that first Test match. But today and yesterday, they have been excellent. Bowled with good discipline yesterday, and they overcame a really tough start today. 35 for 3 to take the lead and put England under serious pressure here. And dare I say it, threaten a victory in this second game. Here's Woakes bowling. That's forced away off the back foot by Brathwaite up to mid-off, and there's no run. The second new ball, or the new ball, is often, you feel it's worth a wicket. Certainly the second new ball, because most of the time you're bowling to players down the order, aren't you, by the time you get round to the
third new ball. You can't guarantee much from that, I tell
no,
you.
not the third new ball, but this is the second new ball. But so far,
no, it hasn't done much. And the sun's out again, and of course Woakes is bowled really well in that first spell, or looked like he was going to take wickets. Hasn't had much cricket, but
no, that's the worry. Here he goes, bowls to Brathwaite. That's cracked away for 4. A bit short. And Brathwaite, of course, he's got his eye, and he's been batting for 85 overs very nearly. And he cracked that to the backward point boundary to go to 128 and move West Indies to 264 for 3. This Test match has got the rather feel of the game England played against Pakistan at the end of last summer, the Test match at the Oval, and Pakistan levelled the series, where England made a sort of a score in the first innings, and then Pakistan went well past them and ended up winning the match by 10 wickets. They got a huge score, 500. Who's it got a double 100? Yunus Khan, of course, a double 100. England had 2 slips in the gully now after that 4. Woakes bowls outside the off stump. Well, if you bowl there, you're going to be hit for 4, and he was almost identical to the backward point boundary, short and wider, and crashed away by Brathwaite.
well, he couldn't believe his luck there. He got another one, another short and wide one from Woakes, and he smashed it away gratefully. Unavailing dive, never going to get it from Stoneman at backward point, just in the slot.
132 to Brathwaite, 268 for 3. A partnership, we had 200, next target 250. Here goes Woakes into bowl to Brathwaite. There's a better delivery just outside the off stump. Brathwaite, though, able to leave it through to Bairstow, and that's the end of the over. So Woakes, 12 overs, no wicket for 50 on his return with the ball for England. And West Indies are 10 runs ahead with how many overs left in the day's play? 17 overs left in the day, so we'll be touching 6:30. I would have thought. We may well get them all in.
Just before you came on, we were talking about very good batsmen who struggled at the start, like Shai Hope, and I found one, namely Jack Callis, and I was just wondering what the comparison is, and Andrew's on it.
Well, Shai Hope after 11 tests averaging 18.6. Jacques Callis after 11 tests was averaging 23.8. Although
I knew Callis was a better player.
But at least he had 100 at that stage. He got his first 100 in his 7th test.
Right.
This is Broad going into bowl to Hope. And it's outside the off stump. Hope stretches forward and it goes through to Bairstow. They're building one of those huge beer snakes in the West Stand. Haven't had much to cheer about from an England perspective today. It's rather thinned out there, but then people are always milling around outside the ground, taking a break from their seats, probably taking a break from the West Stand as well.
Maybe just getting another pint, you never know.
Yeah.
It's quite long though.
Well, so they can increase the size of the beer snake.
Yeah. Selflessly getting another pint.
It's been a lovely day, but not for England. Hope is batting on off stump, faces Broad, and that's outside the off stump, swinging away, but good judgment from Hope, letting it go by. Could have played at it, decided not to, taken by Bairstow in front of first slip. Andrew.
Just looking at a few other players who had a similar sort of career that started after 11 test matches. Dennis Amos was averaging 19 after 11 tests, ended up with an average of 46. Martin Crowe was averaging just over 20 in his first 11 tests and ended up with an average of 45.
Gooch was
Gooch, yep.
Gooch famously started his test career with a pair at Edgbaston in 1975. This is Broad bowling and squared up by that one, but he's going to get runs off a thickish edge along the ground down towards third man. They go for 1. I say runs, are they looking for 2? In fact, both batsmen set off for the second, and then the non-striker who played the shot realised that there wasn't a second one there. That's Hope, sent his partner back. Bairstow took the bails off, but Brathwaite was back in his ground.
Graham Gooch averaged 26 in his first 11 tests, went on to average 42.5.
So what does that tell us as far as Messrs Westley and Malan's
Well,
Test
the
career?
knack is to stay in the team for 11 tests.
269 for 3 is the score. Brathwaite, 132 not out. Broad moves in past the umpire to bowl to him. And he plays that firmly into the offside, up to Moeen at mid-off, and there is no run. Graham Gooch, I don't think he stayed in.
He got dropped.
Yeah, he got dropped, didn't he?
Yeah. But in those days, you see, people got dropped more quickly, but they were recalled more quickly. That's why I keep arguing that the notion that it's always better for these players to get what seems to be the pattern very often, about 7 tests, is not necessarily helpful to them, because if they don't do it in 7 tests, they don't get recalled for a long, long time. They're not necessarily doing them any favours.
Broad balls to Brathwaite, on target, clipped away into the onside. They're off a quick single shot. The stumps misses. Backed up by a combination of Moeen and Westley. It was Anderson looking for another run out. He effected one at Edgbaston last week, but that was a one stump to aim at job. And
he was in anyway, probably.
Oh, just in. It was a tight one, though. It felt a tight one as soon as he set off.
Yeah.
And he veered away to the right-hand side as well. He didn't run in a straight line. Just seeing that, yeah, well.
We would have been up to the third umpire.
Definitely up to the third umpire for that. And probably batsman would have been by 2 inches okay. 270 for 3. Hope 118. Brathwaite 133. It's Hope on strike. Broad bowls to him. Full. Clipped away. Taking that off middle leg. Down towards fine leg for a single. Comfortable single this time. Lead moves to 13. Broad feels as though he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders as he takes the cap from umpire Gaffney. Frustrated by that delivery, because there would have been a big shout for LBW if he'd missed it. He didn't. And we've come to the end of the over. So 16 overs left in the day. England have not taken a wicket since. What time was it? It must have been the first hour this morning. 21st over with the ball. What time have you written down for Kyle Hope's dismissal, Andrew?
11:37.
So no wickets since 11:37. Well, it's incredible. It's the context. It's just the context, really, to what happened this time last week. A week on, the partnership 236. It's Hope on 119. Faces Woakes down the leg side. Tries to flick it away. There's an appeal for a catch behind. England beseeching the umpire to give this out. More those behind than Woakes, although Woakes did appeal. Now, what does Root do here?
Well, he's been given not out, obviously.
Are they going to review it? They're talking about it. Time ticking away, they do review it. Well, it'll be a bit of a strangle if it is out. It was
Mark, we have a review for caught behind.
Interesting.
Can we start to the front foot, please?
I think Hope is asking someone to come out as if he's got no intention of going anywhere.
Right. Well, not a no ball. Right, here we go. Having a look front on now.
Well, it doesn't look to have hit the pad. That's all I'm telling you to start with.
I'll need the ultra edge, please.
I don't think.
Was it bat against the ground? Here we go. Here's the ultra edge. This will be the key moment. No,
nothing. Not a flicker. It does hit
nothing.
the pad. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going back to Ravi on field.
Well, that
definitely come off the pad.
It's not hanging around.
Ravi, stay with your decision off the pad. Well done.
Well done from Murray.
Yeah. Well, he's had a couple of overturned today.
That's better than well done. That's better.
Yeah, which is what he could have said.
No.
Yeah, he's had 2 overturned today, and he's got 2 right as well. And England have reviewed.
Well, he got
2.
that one right too. He got that one right, obviously, and well, it's a sign of England's desperation, really. The minds are a little bit addled, and they're seeing things in desperation that aren't there. And they've only got 1 review left, and who knows how long they've got out in the field. Quite a long time. One suspects if they don't break this partnership tonight.
Well, in a sense, they'll be hoping they don't get their reviews back.
Yeah.
They don't want a third new ball. Here's Woakes bowling. It's full. It's driven back. Not really timed.
Do you get? I don't know. I can't remember. You don't get any more after 160.
You don't? No, that's it.
That's it.
Right. Okay. I have to say, I thought it was
every new ball.
No, right. Okay,
not.
that's it now. Right.
And of course, that rule will change. In October, I think, where you're not going to get any more after 80 overs, but they are changing the fact that if you get 2 reds and an orange, turned out, you don't lose a review.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yes, those umpires' calls and the ball actually hitting the stumps on those appeals. That's on the pad of Hope, turned to forward square leg, and there is no run. I think there's been sort of growing pressure, hasn't there? There's probably been, I don't know, television commentator pressure and probably player pressure as well. The idea that you lose review even if the ball has been shown to be hitting the stumps, and it had seemed a bit.
I mean, I think it's good that they keep refining and trying to improve.
271 for 3. Hope 119 not out. Woakes bowls to him. That's on the pads and clipped through mid-wicket for 4. It's a lovely stroke, but it was there for it. It was a bad ball from Woakes, full on the pads. And most players, most times in their innings, certainly top 6 players, will expect to hit that for 4. When you're past 100, and it's almost a freebie, really. Nicely played there. It looks a nice shot, but you should be able to hit those for 4. Even you, Victor, would have clipped that to the mid-wicket boundary at Taunton.
Well, I wouldn't guarantee that, but it was a poor ball. Woakes probably knows it. Quite a contrast this spell with Woakes' first spell, and I can't help thinking that's partly that he's so short of cricket. He's been out there a long time.
275 for 3. Woakes tries again, bowls. It's full. It's driven down the ground for 4 more. That's a superb shot from Hope. Woakes pitching up, and he hit that just to the onside of the stumps, down to the football stand. Lovely stroke from Shai Hope. 127 to him, and this new ball is disappearing.
Well, it was a half volley, a straight half volley, beautifully dispatched down the ground with a little bit of a flourish, just held the pose for half a second or so.
279 for 3.
He doesn't look comfortable either at that end, or he's just not in the rhythm of playing a long game of cricket. He'll have to take him off if he keeps bowling like this, I'm afraid.
Woakes goes in to bowl to Hope, and Hope plays that firmly as well. That would have been 4 more. If it hadn't gone straight to the fielder, it's firmly struck, straight to mid-on, stopped by Broad. And there is no run. And this partnership is in danger of producing more runs than West Indies managed in the whole of the Test match at Edgbaston. 168 and 137. They've got a little bit to go, but it's 244 now, and sometimes a little break can help the bowling side. We have a drinks break the batsman's concentration. England needs something.
The lead is now 21. I mean, they've accelerated a nasty over that from Woakes. We've got news from the Kia Cup.
Confirmed lineup for the finals day, the KSL finals day on Friday. The playoff will be between Surrey Stars and Western Storm. The winner playing the holders, the Southern Vipers, in the final. Wins today for Vipers, Storm and Loughborough Lightning, who beat Surrey at the Oval.
Well, Western Storm and Ebony will be at her Churchillian best, I'm sure, before the Surrey Stars take on the Western Storm.
I think she's given up Churchillian, though. We had her Edgbaston. Yeah, she just drops out the cliches now.
Yeah, does she?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Got to hit our straps and that sort of thing to get over the line.
Yeah, stand on what's the plate one? I forget that.
Well,
Step up to the plate, hit our straps,
and
get over the line.
Thrash it to the boundary, take our catches. Right, the players taking a drink in the sunshine. We have 15 overs left in the day's play. We might finish just before 6:30 this evening. For the next 20 minutes, it will be Dan Norcross.
Well, England having a drink. Looking very cheerful out there. Chris Woakes in particular. How many did he go for in that last over? Could have been more than it was, actually, but certainly 2 crunching boundaries.
Yeah, it was just the 2 crunching boundaries.
Was it? But he's not looking in rhythm, whether it's because he's swapped ends and he's not so comfortable coming in from the rugby stand end up the hill, or whether it's just that he is not accustomed to playing a long game of cricket. And he's not exactly run out of steam, but he's just not acclimatised to coming back late in the day to bowl some more overs. I don't know, but he bowled a poor over there, and I'd be surprised if he gets another one.
Well, the number on everyone's lips.
On your lips.
Everyone's lips.
Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Victor. As I walked around the ground, I had everybody murmuring. 265, they were murmuring.
Have we gone?
Highest partnership, I think, by the West Indies against England at Headingly.
Yeah.
I've got Andrew now looking deeply, gazing into the middle distance.
What year? Can you tell me the year?
I thought I'd let Andrew do that. I thought I'd let him earn his corn.
Oh, right. Well,
244 this partnership at the moment.
So 265. I mean, well, I wonder when it was. 1966?
It might be. I was joking earlier about how this was turning another one-sided test match. It is a one-sided test match.
It might be right. England face the prospect of, at the moment, they face the prospect of having a 200-run deficit.
They're going to have to bat for 2 days to save the game. It's a 3-test series. They've got to remember these things, And
the games move so quickly, you struggle to save it. You've more chance of winning it than saving it at the moment.
True that. Andrew.
Yeah, highest for any wicket for West Indies is 265. Seymour Nurse and Gary Sobers in 1966.
Stuart Broad has 2 slips and a gully, or a 4th slip, really, and his first delivery is full and clipped firmly by Brathwaite to Anderson. There's no run.
Or as we like to say in our copy, in homage to John Woodcock, as recently as 1966.
How old is John Woodcock now? He must be approaching 100.
Well, he's in his 90s. Must be in his 90s, but still hale and hearty, I think.
So he's got a fairly defensive field. Point, extra, wide mid off, mid on, mid wicket, long leg. Next delivery's clipped down to that long leg for another single. It was fallen on the pads. And well and ever, 134 to Brathwaite, 127 to Shai Hope, 280 for 3, a partnership of 245. Andrew has been updating us on when the last 150 partnership was, last 200 partnership. I'm sure he's primed and ready for the last 250 partnership for the West Indies.
Well, I'm now stuck on 265.
Well, as well you might be. Made a note of it, have you? Yes. Broad in, bowls, a full ball, worked around the corner. It was on around middle and off stump, that, and it still managed to clip it round the corner. My hope for a single. And when you've been batting as long as these two have, 244 balls for Brathwaite, 213 for Hope, it all looks so much easier. The sun is out. We can see miles into the distance in God's own country. I'd believe they call it here.
It was nearly 3 years ago, the last 150 partnership, and nearly 4 years ago for the last 200, and it's nearly 5 years ago for the last 250.
Wow. We're going to have to look at 300 before long. Broad bowls. It's wafted out. That's the first really poor, wafty shot from Brathwaite that I can remember today. And it was wide of the off stump, but he was drawn into the shot. Missed it. Flat-footed, didn't move his feet. Maybe a little bit overconfident, a bit tired. He just didn't move his feet at all and tried to sort of carve it, cut it, if you will. And it missed the bat by some distance.
We can do 300 as well, because it's 250 was a 326 with the actual partnership.
That's a crying shame.
Darren Bravo and Marlon Samuels in Khulna against Bangladesh in 2012.
Here's Broad in once more, and that's again worked firmly, but mid-wicket this time. But he's bowling a fuller length at the moment, is Broad, than he did before. One tends to think that had he bowled these deliveries before lunch under a cloudy sky, they would have been more effective against a new batsman than now under a almost, well, not cloudless sky, but what clouds there are, the sort of ones in which a cartoon god will come out of it, and from Monty Python and the Holy Grail start excoriating us for poor behaviour. Broad at the top of his run. Arms, elbows pumping relatively hard. Oh, this ball jags back in, and he gets inside edge of Brathwaite's bat and dribbles out to the offside. No run, 281 for 3, 88 overs gone. Hope 128, Brathwaite 134. The attendance for today, been informed, is 13,823. What's the capacity here?
I think it's not much, 15 and a half, something like that.
So that's fairly
pretty good.
And tickets are available for tomorrow. And we can say with absolute certainty, I would say, that we're going to get a full day tomorrow, unless England are bundled out for 60 or 70, which I suppose is possible.
Well, in which case it'll be pretty dramatic.
Yeah, so come along. Adults, 35. Juniors, £10 for a Sunday, for a bank holiday Sunday. in the holidays. I mean, they even have holidays in Yorkshire.
I spent about 30 years trying not to be stereotypical when I come up to, the Broad Acres. It doesn't seem to bother you, though.
They're not always hard at work. It's been a running battle with one side of my family for 48 years.
You've got Yorkshire
I can't
blood?
help you. Yeah, half of
Oh, that's
it.
all right,
Do you
then.
not know? Yorkshire bowls, Stokes bowls. Definitely not Yorkshire. Durham.
You and
Via New
Jeffrey, then
Zealand,
you're
pushed
from
on
the
offside,
same.
no run. Yes,
you're
from the same
hewn
cloth.
from the same.
Yes. And we're so similar in so many ways, I think.
I haven't seen you bat.
Oh, I'm very, very solid in defence. I tend to eschew the wide, long hop. Let that go through.
Jeffrey hit those for 4.
Well, I don't believe in anything as frivolous as a 4. Ball's pushed into the offside. Fielded a short cover and there's no run.
We have had the bowling change, by the way. I mean, Chris Woakes bowled an ugly over, and understandably, Root has said, thanks, that'll do. But he's looking around for bowlers, actually.
Yeah.
Anderson has been the best bowler, but he's probably done his stint for the day. I don't know.
Did he just bowl the 2 in that?
He just bowled the 2 of them.
Well, that's peculiar, unless he's going to come up this end.
Stokes in again, and that's just around off stump, left alone. A little bit wide of off stump, taken by Bairstow, no run.
I can't see the flags. I mean, that is he still out there, I presume, Anderson?
Yes, I've seen Anderson. I've seen him very recently. He didn't go off after his 2 over spell, if that's what you're.
Well, I'm
about. Is it
thinking that
mid-on?
it's odd that he's not bowling with the new ball. Hence, I would have thought he's going to replace Broad this end. He loves bowling up the hill.
He's here at sort of 4th slip. And this is wide and crashed through the offside. Good diving, sprawling stop. Prevents any runs. England's fielding's been pretty sharp. Dawid Malan doing well there on this occasion. No run. 281 for 3.
Anderson's bowled a total of 14 overs today.
Well, he should be able to bowl 3 or 4 more. And
with the ball new as well.
Yeah. I'm mildly surprised. I think it might be that they've decided. I don't know. I can't see where the flags are and where the breeze has changed. But maybe this end is now the preferred end.
Stokes in again, quite close to the stumps on this occasion. The ball's pushed down to the offside, fielded at cover point. And there's no run once more. The partnership 246 between Brathwaite and Shai Hope. The crowd starting. Some of the more bibulous members of the crowd seem to be thinning out away to our right and on their way. The men in banana costumes are still here, which is good to see. And I was accosted by a bunch of clerics earlier. This ball is driven just in front of backward point off a thick outside edge. That was not where he intended it. Stoneman gathered it on the bounce. There's just a little concern for a moment for Hope, but at the end of the 89th over of the innings, the West Indies are 281 for 3. Yes, a group of 5 men dressed as clerics got me to confess on a Bible all my sins and then asked me to get them Geoffrey Boycott for them so he could sign his book.
You've been perambulating.
That's what I do when I come to Headingly. They're a very convivial bunch.
Of course. Were there Wallies? I thought there were Wallies at one point.
Yeah, there have been Dennis the Menaces as well. Or is it Dennis's the Menace? I don't know. Like mothers-in-law, is it? I don't know which way round it is. You'll need to work that out. But yes, I've seen a few Wallies. I found some Wallies. Clerics, Bananas and Dennis's. 2 slips and a gully for Broad's next over. And the first ball is pushed by Brathwaite up to mid-off, slightly turned him round. There's still a little bit of shape, but it's not marked.
I'm slightly bemused that Anderson isn't bowling, assuming that he's not got any ailments, because he's been the pick of the bowlers in this innings. He's only bowled 2 overs with the new ball. It may be that he's decided he wants him to replace Broad because the winds change and it's easier from this end. This is the best end. I don't know.
Broad's in again. And bowled him! There's the breakthrough! Brathwaite has gone. It kept a trifle low at him as it has done a bit from this end. Broad has picked up his first wicket. And what a cheer for the crowd who've been waiting for that wicket for, well, nigh on 5 and a bit hours since the last one went down. Kraigg Brathwaite His tremendous vigil is at an end. That cut back sharply between bat and pad and crashed into middle and leg stump. Broad is furiously pleased.
Well, he is.
Down.
He's unsmilingly pleased.
Yes.
Because of the situation. Brathwaite kind of hesitates before he makes his way to the pavilion to acknowledge everyone standing around Headingly, which is a great sight. It's a great welcome back, and he deserves it. I mean, that's an innings that might help transform the tour for the West Indies after the humiliations of Edgbaston. In he goes. It's a terrific knock from a really doughty opening batsman. He doesn't charm you particularly, but he fights furiously. He knows his game, and he's got 130 off, a critical 130 off that has restored West Indian pride. Got them right back in this game, in fact controlling this game by normal standards. And he will be going back to a very, very grateful dressing room.
He will. Does that mean that you're leaving me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Daniel.
Victor is off. Roston Chase, who will have pad rash from sitting in the players' area for the last. When was the third wicket? What time?
11:37.
11:37. So just shy of 6 hours. The Roston Chase has been expecting to come in, and now he finally is in. With Broad having got one that really did cut back, and I don't know whether it was a slightly tired shot, whether it just didn't quite get up as much as he expected, or whether the movement was exaggerated enough to just snick in between bat and pad. But Kraigg Brathwaite has finally gone, but what a fabulous knock that has been, and it's taken the West Indies up to 281 for 4 from the doldrums of 35 for 3. And he has transformed the match, as Vic said, possibly transformed the tour. At the moment, the West Indies well on top. They lead by 23, but England have now got an end to bowl at, and immediately Joe Root has pounced. He's put in 4 slips. He's got Moeen Ali dead square of the wicket on the offside, about 4 pitch whips back from Roston Chase. There's a short leg in as well. Everything is different. The crowd are up. Here's Broad. Right arm over the wicket. Forward in immaculate defence comes Roston Chase. And pushes it up to mid-off, and there's no run. We welcome Michael Vaughan. I've got to say, Roston Chase was the man who impressed me most when I saw them back against Essex, and if he's in anything like decent form, he and Hope could take the game away from England. Conversely, a couple of wickets now, and the game will look very, very different indeed.
Yeah, absolutely, but what an innings that was from Kraigg Brathwaite. I thought he looked pretty good at Edgbaston, but his control, discipline, awareness of the game situation, he attacked at the right times. You know, he likes that cut shot on the offside, the flick of the hips, and played straight.
Here's Broad into the new man Chase, who just works a full ball on his pads. I say on his pads, on middle and leg, really. He works it up to Jimmy Anderson mid-on. Do you have any idea? We were speculating on this with Vic, why Jimmy Anderson would have bowled just for 2 overs. Vic's supposition was that maybe he wants to bowl from Broad's end. Maybe the wind has changed direction or something of that sort.
No, I don't think it has. I mean, always blows across from the White Rose stand, the old Western Terrace. So, you know, he's had his success from down the bottom of the stand end, the rugby stand end. I don't know, maybe he just got a gut instinct, the captain.
Broad in once more to Chase, who pulls this beautifully, but straight down to long leg on the bounce, where it is fielded. He's off the mark, Roston Chase, 282 for 4. Andrew, so you're poised with, I imagine, Kraigg Brathwaite.
Yep, he batted a total of 378 minutes, 6 hours 18, facing 249 balls with 17 fours and 2 sixes.
Not a shabby effort. And am I right in saying that those sixes brought up his 50 and his 100? Is that right?
That's right.
Which must be relatively rare.
It was the 7th time that I found of players having done that altogether ever.
Has anyone gone to a 50 with a 6, a 100 with a 6, and a 150 with a 6?
Oh, now you've asked. Forward in defence comes Hope, pushed out into the offside. End of the over, 282 for 4. 90 overs have gone. England have finally made that breakthrough. Stuart Broad has made that breakthrough. And they've got Roston Chase to bowl at the other end. Might we see? No, we're going to see Stokes staying in the attack from the rugby ground end.
And the problem with this game, Andrew, is that if someone has done it to 150, I'm just going to keep going. Then it'd be 200.
Yeah. Bill Ponsford famously did it on all his way up to 450. Yes.
I don't think Ponce would hit that many sixes. I mean, Brathwaite had only hit 3 sixes in his career in 38 tests before today.
Wow.
But obviously he's not going to get to 150 with a 6 today, so
Has anyone ever done that?
I don't think so. I'll just check the 7 who've got the 50 and 100.
That's the way to do it.
Do some typing away on that computer.
It's great, isn't it?
I
when
have
he's
to
hard
say,
at
Dan,
work?
though,
Yeah.
you know England have had a poor day, a difficult day when Jeffrey's starting to mention Auntie Annie downstairs.
Oh,
You know,
and
and a
yeah.
glass of sherry that she could have bowled better.
Where's
You know
that
it's
stage
been-
of it?
You know it's been a tough day when he brings out Auntie Annie.
Is he back on with us today or not? I'm having a look with some trepidation.
No,
Okay.
don't worry,
right,
everyone.
yeah.
He's not coming back.
Right, okay, fine. It's fine. Let's hope he gets a good night's sleep. 3 slips a gully, backward point, forward short leg, extra cover mid-on, and a long leg as Stokes is in to the new man Chase. Oh, and he gets a short ball, which he works into the onside. Not that far from that short leg. That's what the short leg's there for. I'm not totally convinced that that's the way England want to be looking to get Chase out at the moment. You'd have thought full and moving away with those 3 slips in a gully, but it's not the extra option. Andrew.
Well, the partnership of 246 for the 4th wicket. Took 291 minutes and came with 413 balls.
That's a pretty decent rate, isn't it? As Stokes is in again, outside the off stump through to the keeper, and there's no run. Is that West Indies' highest 4th wicket partnership ahead? 246, of course, is a number that'll resonate hugely with Geoffrey Boycott.
Absolutely, yes.
At this very ground. He didn't play the game after that, as I think we may have heard on
He was dropped
odd occasion.
batting a bit slowly, was he?
I heard that. It does seem a bit unfair because I think he only batted for 5 sessions. So. I mean, you know,
Dropped for getting a double
I
century.
know. I'm going to defend him on this occasion. Next ball is short and played off the back foot to backward point. Stoneman does the fielding. There's no run.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out why Anderson wouldn't be bowling. He's stood at, what you probably call it a 5th slip.
5th slip, yeah.
So he bowled 2
gully,
with
yeah.
a second new ball. I mean, it's not swung, but you know, he's such a master, isn't he? Of
Yeah.
bowling in any conditions these days. It,
Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
I mean, a bit of extra pace, Stokes, but
Unless he's instigating this. Stokes in again. So Chase very full, very wide. Chase is really quite distasteful in his leave, and he stays in the left posture, if you will, for some time. As if to say, I have no interest, I have no care for this ball. This is not the ball I'm looking for. Bring me another ball. 282 for 4. Hope has 128. Roston Chase new to the crease after Kraigg Brathwaite was finally out bowled in the last over. Stokes in again, and that's driven, but not that convincingly to point. Stoneman fields, don't get a single. Not Stoneman. Stoneman will be at short leg. Who's that at back of point? That'd be Malan. The sun is out, gloriously out. The sky is magnificently a light shade of blue. A sort of Cricket United blue, if you will, at the moment. No need for the floodlights that were on earlier today. They were on before lunch, when the batting was really tough, as Stokes is in again to Chase, and he just defends a full ball back up the wicket. Stokes fields of his own bowling, end of the over. The 11th with his second new ball, the 91st of the innings. West Indies 282 for 4. They lead by 24. Hope will have strike the next over, 128. Roston Chase has one. Thoughts from Michael Vaughan, and then it will be a still happy Fazir Mohammed.
well, I think it'll be a delighted Fazir. His team have had a tremendous day. It really has been high quality. It was the morning session. I felt the West Indies did all the real work. It was tough. The ball was swinging around, and yeah, they played and missed it a few. They had a few edges that dropped short, but to only lose 2 wickets, you know, and one being Bishoo in that morning session, it was tremendous play. And it's got a bit easier as the days got a bit brighter and the ball got a bit softer.
Broad starts a new over, bowls short of a length, and he was almost flinching there. Shai Hope at that delivery just angled into the body, and he just eventually played it away towards forward square leg for the single. He goes on to 129. Chase back in strike on 1, and you'll be sure he'll be peppered with a few short ones. Roston Chase, there's a deep backward square leg in place, and the West Indies 283 for 4. Definitely a good day for the West Indies, but I think it just reinforces the point.
It's not just been a good
Fantastic day.
one. Oh, come on. Big it up more than that.
I'll stay with fantastic for
Oh,
the
come
moment.
on. Look at the way they played.
They played brilliantly, but it just goes to show occupation of the crease. The more time you spend out there, even when the new ball is taken, you're a bit more comfortable. Broad bowls on off stump to Chase, and he's walking into. He's a tall man, pushing it away out towards the mid-on. And again, we're talking about it with Jeffrey early on. Just the discipline of not being drawn into the loose shot, even though they were beaten time and time again early on in the morning when it was dancing about. The fact that they just continued to grit it out and battle it out, and when the weather eased and the pitch became easy and maybe the bowlers lost that inspiration, they batted superbly. And I think it's the discipline more than anything else, because they do have the ability, and we're seeing it come to fruition now. Broad bowls and beats Chase with a good delivery that touches down and goes past the outside edge into the gloves of Bairstow.
That ball there, Faz, I don't think England bowled enough of in the morning session. They bowled one or two, and they beat the outside edge on a few occasions, but I don't think they stuck to that full of length for long enough. They started the ball a bit short, whether it was just because of the lack of rhythm or just not finding the length consistent. Maybe they were trying to, but I just don't think they were consistent enough in trying to achieve that. Maybe they over-attacked with some field settings. Maybe they could have gone with a little bit more of an extra cover in place, made off a bit straighter and given the ball a bit of protection.
They are attacking now as Broad bowls. Chase was driving through the offside, over-pitched, and the tall man that he is reaching out for the half volley and stroking it away for his first boundary. He goes on to 5, and the West Indies now 287 for 4.
Well, I'm intrigued to see how the West Indies play from this position. In such a position of dominance, the ball's doing a little bit, but the likes of Roston Chase averages 43 in Test match cricket. Jermaine Blackwood, he played so well at Edgbaston. He was the one West Indian batsman that got on the bus up the kind of M6, M1 to Leeds with a little bit of his head held high after playing so well there. He'll come out and attack. And then there's Jason Holder. There's a few players that can do some damage.
Shane Dowrich can get a few runs if he gets in, but
it's always easy to bat in this situation, isn't it?
And it's important though for anyone who's now coming in to really cash in, as Broad bowls outside the off stump and Chase lets it go by through to the keeper. 287 for 4. Yes, Andrew.
I'll just answer Michael's question. No one's reached a 50, 100 and 150 with the 6 in the same.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
The Virendra Sehwag reached his 100 and his 300 with the 6 in the same innings once.
Typical for a man who was known for that style.
Did he get off the mark with the 6 over third man?
Not on that one, but unfortunately he didn't reach 200 with the 6, which is a bit disappointing.
Can't have everything, Andrew.
I bet he tried.
4 slips, gully, very square. It's almost a short point and a forward short leg as Broad bowls to Chase, and he's letting this one go by. Just came back a fraction from outside the off stump, but not enough to force him into playing a shot. He remains on 5. Hope is 129, a partnership of 246 with Kraigg Brathwaite, who's the last wicket to fall, bowled by Broad for 134. And the West Indies coming towards the end of an outstanding day of cricket for them. Probably their best day of cricket away from home for a long, long time against reputable opposition, to be 287 for 4 from 35 for 6, 35 for 3.
Well, as I was saying, Faz, it's just intriguing to see how they play it from here. I think when you watch this West Indies team, you sit here and you'll be commentating, you've commentated many games, you think there'll probably be a collapse. This kind of position of strength that they've got themselves in. Can they really grind England into the ground? Can they go and get 400 plus? Can they have a lead of 150?
Here comes Stokes from the football stand end, bowls wide outside the off stump, a full-length delivery outside the off stump to Hope, and he doesn't go after it. There is a long leg and a deep square leg in place, 3 slips and a gully, cover mid-off, mid-on as well, with the bright afternoon sunshine. But yeah, that's an important point. The West Indies have worked themselves. They've surprised everyone. They've certainly surprised me. They've shocked me. It's remarkable to see the way they've turned it around.
I can see it in the face.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you a question? The morning session, it was cloudy, cold. You had your t-shirt on.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, the sun's shining bright. You got the jumper on.
And it's taking the leading edge from Shai Hope. He's looking to play into the onside, turning the face of the bat too early, and takes a leading edge, bouncing away towards the mid-off. I don't know if it's the air conditioning or whatever, but it just feels a bit chilly. Maybe it is that I can't even believe what I'm seeing, and the blood isn't flowing as properly as it should, because you almost want to pinch yourself to tell you that is happening. But it's not that it's ever impossible for a team to recover, but the way they played at Edgbaston and the way things were shaping up, you didn't think that they were capable of turning it around so quickly, as Hope turns the next delivery away, backward of square for the single. Score moves on to 288 for 4. Hope goes on to 130, and going quite a way to fulfilling a lot of the expectations about this young talent. Those who would have followed the Test series a couple of years ago when England were there would have recalled that he opened the batting in the first Test, in the third Test match in Barbados. He's a middle-order batsman, but was pushed up to open to give him an opportunity in the Test team because he had a good regional season. Struggled really badly in that match and for a few more matches to come. Got that 90 against Pakistan, but averaging 18. He's on the front foot is Roston Chase to the next delivery, pushing it away out towards mid-off, but we've talked about it, averaging just 18 after 11 Test matches and under pressure, no doubt, to deliver, and he's certainly delivered in style on this second day here at Headingly, and he's still there on 130. 288 for 4. Chase on 5. Roston Chase with his century in vain in Dominica. He was stranded at the non-striker's end, as he waits now on Ben Stokes. Short of a length, and you would have expected that short ball sooner or later because he doesn't cope with the short ball on the body particularly well, but he swayed out of the way of that one as it went through to Bairstow.
Yeah, he plays that nicely because he was going to play the pull shot, and all of a sudden he realised it was just a little bit too high, but he watches it all the way, then just dips his head. The one thing that he'll have to be careful is make sure he gets his hands lower as well. His hands were still up there next to his head. That's a little target for England.
Stokes charging in, bowls, full-length delivery, just looking to catch him on the back foot, but he was wise to the full-length delivery, pushing it away out towards mid-off. He remains on 5, having replaced his fellow Barbadian, Kraigg Brathwaite, bowled by Broad for 134 and a partnership of 246 for the 4th wicket, 288 for 4. Chase 5, Hope 130.
Now, who are we going to have here? It's Jimmy Anderson.
Why only 2 overs for Anderson with the second new ball?
No idea.
Any indication of an injury?
No, I don't think so. I think it may be that he just fancied a change of ends. And he's replaced Stuart Broad. Now, Woakes struggled from the rugby stand end. He bowled a couple of short ones, then drifted one onto the pads of Hope. Well, we'll see if it works. You know, they've rested Jimmy for how long was it? When was the last time he bowled it? How long ago was it? He was at a 50-odd minute rest. They're not going to over-attack England here. Just 2 slips, or 1 and 2, and then probably a 4.5 fifth slip. Just an orthodox ring on the offside, extra cover in place, mid-on, mid-wicket, and a wide fine leg.
Anderson bowls outside the off stump at the start of his second spell with the second new ball to Roston Chase.
And I just wonder, if I was back to that first session, you know, England had 4 slips, 5 slips at times, 6 slips, I think, on one occasion. I just wonder if, you know, by going so aggressive with so many slips, and I love attacking cricket, I just wonder if it kind of forced the bowlers to just bowl that little bit shorter because they were scared of getting driven because there were so many gaps in front of them.
Anderson back at the top of his mark, in again, bowls, and he's on the front foot pushing defensively. But I suppose, I'm sure on television they'll highlight it as well, but if you were able to count the number of times the ball went past the outside edge in that first session, you'd almost argue that it was justified. On another day, they'd nick off the edge, and either one of them or both of them would have been gone pretty early because they were beaten so often by the moving ball.
A lot of the balls that were passing the outside edge, it was passing the outside edge probably around hip high, just below. It wasn't really that often on the front foot. 2
slips and a gully in place. Anderson bowls pitched up and he's driving off the inner portion of the bat. His Hope won't get the run. A diving stop at mid-wicket. And the score remains at 288.
And that's the only thing I would look at England today. And I think they've had some good spells, but I think overall they've probably bowled a yard too short. And I think at Leeds, if you just bowl that yard too short, the ball bounces obviously a little bit higher, and you just give the batsman just that little bit longer to adjust and just maybe get the bat inside the line. You know, the fact that the outside edge hasn't been carrying to the slip.
Here goes Anderson, bowls outside the off stump, and he's letting it go by through to the keeper. Just interested in what's the the mindset when you haven't had a good day, because for Joe Root, especially as a new Test captain, after England won the first Test against South Africa and lost heavily the second Test, all the talk came up about the challenges of being a captain, what's going to happen when the Ashes come around. Of course, the media got involved, because the media will blow very, very hot one day, then beastly cold the next day, depending on how things go. But I'm just wondering from the team setup, as Anderson bowls, and he's getting an inside edge past the off stump, that's going to run away for 4. The luck with him with that delivery as it jagged back in, but got enough of the bat to take it past the stumps to earn Hope a boundary to pull him to 134.
Well, the frustrating thing about this England side is that, you know, they can be incredible one week, and they were fantastic in the first Test match against South Africa at Lords. The week after at Trent Bridge, they were appalling. Then they were fantastic at the Oval against South Africa, then again at Old Trafford, then last week against, and then out of nowhere they've produced 2 days so far of real poor stuff.
Last ball of the over from Anderson has Hope driving through the offside, runs for him here, goes past Moeen Ali at mid-off. Will he be able to pull it back? He's sliding and is able to pull it back just inches away from the boundary rope, which will allow Hope to come back for 3 runs. 137 to him, and it's now 295 for 4.
But here at Headingely, Faz, is that, you know, it was a few years ago that Sri Lanka beat England here. In the penultimate ball of the Test match, Jimmy Anderson was out. They were out-bowled England by our Sri Lankan seamers. New Zealand were a quality side, and you know, you can have weeks against that kind of team. You know, the Bolts, Southey, McCullums, you know, they just played better than England on that week. But again, if you look to the whole week, you'd say that New Zealand bowled a bit fuller. And so far in this Test match, if you looked at the way that Roach bowled yesterday in particular, I would say that his lengths have just been a yard fuller than the England seamers. Probably Jimmy Anderson the exception. You know, Broad, Stokes and Woakes have bowled into the pitch. And that's, I guess, I'm sure the message from the dressing room will be hit the top of off stump as many times as you possibly can. For whatever reason, they've just not managed to do that today.
Stokes from that far end, the football stand end, ball short of a length. There is no forward short leg in place, so Hope is able to play it very easily off the body down to long leg for another run. He goes up to 138. It's 296 for 4. Chase back in strike on 5. And it's always interesting when you try to put into context how you would assess a day's play. Was it because of bad luck? Was it because of poor bowling? Was it because, you've got to give credit to the opposition, outstanding batting, real discipline?
Well, I think it's more the batting. You know, the bowling hasn't been at its finest, but I think you've just got to say that Brathwaite and Hope today have just been phenomenal, really, from what we saw last week to, I think it's clearly a different West Indian side that's arrived.
Very, very different. Like the weather. You can expect a short ball now from Stokes as he bowls to Chase down the leg side, striving for that extra bit of pace, the aggressive all-rounder. 296 for 4.
The one thing that's been really impressive is that generally over the time I played against the West Indians, and you know, I'm sure you'll agree that, you know, the batting, if you managed to bowl a maiden or a few dot balls, you always felt that they'd play a ridiculous shot. You know, you felt they'd offer you a nice free wicket, you know, if someone get caught mid-off or caught cover point.
Stokes bowls short of a length and he's in behind it, playing it away out towards backward point. Absolutely right. That has been the general feeling, that just serves them up a few dot balls, sooner or later they're going to try something.
And both Shai Hope and Kraigg Brathwaite just played with so much control. They played it with time, they played with discipline, they left at the right time, but every time they had a scoring opportunity, you felt that they latched onto it.
And it is almost about relearning the disciplines of Test cricket for a lot of these contemporary West Indian cricketers. Stokes bowls short of a length and he's guiding it and caught at slip, giving catching practice to Alastair Cook. A 151st catch in Test cricket for Cook. So 2 wickets in relatively quick succession here for England as they try to pull things back after the West Indies have earned themselves already a first innings lead. Extra bounce, Hope guiding it away, trying to somehow get on top of it, and in the end giving catching practice to one of the safest pair of hands in the slip cordon. Alastair Cook takes the catch and Roston Chase departs. He's gone for 5 in the West Indies, 296 for 5.
Well, he just gets squared up on the back foot here. You see that right shoulder come in too soon. He's probably expecting the short stuff, and he gets one. He just dangles his bat. It's not a great shot. Good catch. You know, if you want to be a good Test match team when you've had iffy days, and England have had an iffy day, you've still got 35 minutes. How many overs left?
It's another 7 after this.
7 overs after this one to drag the day back, get another couple of wickets, and England are right back into the Test match. They really are, but that's what, you know, good Test match. I remember that great Australian side. They could have really poor days, and then suddenly the last 10 overs of a day, second new ball gets taken, whip 3 or 4 out, and they kind of get the day back to them. And you know, I think whatever happens in the next 7 overs, it's been the West Indians' day, but England can certainly give themselves a real good chance of getting back into the Test match by picking another couple up. That was a good catch. It went fast.
Very, very good catch indeed. Jermaine Blackwood, the attacking player who we saw quite a bit of in his innings of 79 in the first innings at Edgbaston, he comes to the crease.
Well, I think it's a good time as well for England to get Blackwood out of 7 overs. How does he play it? Does he play his natural game and attack, or does he think, you know, I'll try and get there and make sure that I'm still there tomorrow morning?
I think if there's the scoring opportunity, he's going to go after
I like
it.
that shot they tries to whack over the bowler's head.
Stokes in now, bowls to him, and he's getting a short ball. They've got a bit of history, the pair of Ben Stokes and Jermaine Blackwood, because they came across each other at under-19 level, at the under-19 World Cup, and indeed when Jermaine Blackwood got 100 in Antigua a couple of years ago when they played against England, there were a few words exchanged between Ben Stokes and Blackwood, and Blackwood in fact talked about it at the end of the day's play when he had gotten that 100. So it's going to be interesting as the duel is resumed. Stokes bowls to Blackwood, slashing it away through the offside. Well, there's your answer. Bowl it there, and he's going to go after it. Doesn't matter if it's half an hour to go, start of the day, halfway through the day, or 1 ball to go. Put it where it's going to be hit, and he's going to hit it. Well, 300 comes up, 300 for 5 at the end of the over.
Take that. Well, I tell you, that shot just reminded me of a shot that I saw Graham Swan play just a few days ago to Johan Blake. But unfortunately, Swanee played it a little bit earlier. And he went straight to mid-off Ed Smith. Look at Ben Stokes, he's having a right smile, but what a shot.
And just reinforcing that they've got a bit of a connection. There doesn't appear to be hostility, because there was a bit of a nod from the batsman and one in acknowledgement from the bowler as well, with a bit of a smile. But Blackwood off the mark, as you would expect, because he is the type of player who's not going to miss out on an opportunity to score. And it will give England a chance as well, you suspect, for them to pick up another wicket or 2. And we're going to see Jimmy Anderson coming in now with 3 slips in position to bowl to Shai Hope. He's jumping into line to deliver. That keeps a bit low, takes the inner portion of the bat, goes away out towards mid-on. So after striving for almost 5 hours without success and being frustrated by a partnership of 246 between Kraigg Brathwaite and Shai Hope, we've seen Brathwaite bowled by Stuart Broad, bowled through the gate with the second new ball for 154, and now Roston Chase caught it slip by Cook of Stokes for 5. Anderson bowls a full-length delivery that Hope plays away into the onside, gets the single. He goes on to 139, and it's 301 for 5, a lead of 43. Graham Swan, good afternoon, good evening.
Well, the old question, whose days it's been? Who's won this one?
I think that you'd have to say that the West Indies would have.
I think just about. They've absolutely cruised it today.
Got a lead of 43 from being 30-odd for 3.
Absolutely brilliant from the West Indies. I say you don't think there's any hostility there. Ben Stokes and
Blackwood. Anderson bowls to Blackwood on leg stump. He's looking to turn it away. Comes off the thigh pad. They'll scramble through the run, which is signalled as a leg by umpire Chris Gaffney from New Zealand. So it's now 302 for 5. But nothing is wrong with that sort of aggression, and we've talked about it before, but you've got to channel that aggression properly, and there's got to be a right place if you want to go after the opposition.
You can only do it if it boosts your performance, and rubbish is the other player. If that makes sense.
Bowls wide outside the off stump to Hope, and he lets it go by through to Bairstow.
There's certain players who famously would never pick a fight with Dawid Malan. You never picked a fight with Dawid Malan. He would use it to inspire himself to bigger and greater performances, so you just kept quiet to him when he batted. Jimmy Anderson, when he bowls, if I was batting, I'd never even look at Jimmy Anderson, I'd just walk away. He wants you to get in a fight with him, he wants to stoke himself up. Glenn McGrath and Shane Warne, they wanted you to take him on.
Here goes Anderson, bowls to Hope, and he's getting a good delivery here that pitches and kicks and moves away past the outside edge, but Hope has been there long enough to drop the wrist, let it go through to the keeper. I'm surprised someone would get the chance to pick a fight with Dawid Malan before he'd already gotten under their skin, because that was Javid's reputation, and indeed in that outstanding era for the West Indies, taking on Pakistan was probably the best Test cricket you would ever see, because the West Indies just couldn't win a Test series against Pakistan during that period. It would be 1-1 during the 1980s. It was tremendous Test cricket between those two teams, and I suppose Pakistan almost underachieved against other teams, but they were really fired up to take on the West Indies of that period. Anderson bowls on the line of off stump to Hope, and he plays it away out towards a cover point, the end of the over. 302 for 5, a couple of wickets here for England to help them to try to minimise the West Indies advantage, which at the moment is 44 with 5 wickets in hand. Shai Hope is on 139, Blackwood is 4, more from Swanee, and then it's going to be Simon.
Yeah, thanks, Faz. It's Alastair Cook taking his 151st catch. It's a nice thing to focus on early on today. Not a natural slipper by any means when he first came into the game. And do you remember the game in Hamilton in New Zealand, 2007, I think it was? All of a sudden emerged with 2 brilliant one-handed diving catches to get Stephen Fleming and Jacob Orme out, I think it was. The bowling of Ryan Sidebottom, achieving part of a hat-trick. And he's been in the grippers ever since. He's come a long way, Simon. Good evening.
Good evening, Graham. Here's Stokes to continue. 20th over of the day, 302 for 5. Bowls to Blackwood, who turns it into the onside. Gets 1. I think that's all there will be. Goes out to mid-wicket. Fielder comes in from deep square to his left and in a bit to pick up. So 1 more. Blackwood's off strike. Oh, one thing to talk about Stokes being fired up, because he needs to be careful because he has some demerit points. And you can get a ban these days.
How many demerit points? Is it 12? Is it like your driving licence?
No, it's 4, isn't it? Because we had a ban earlier in the summer. We had Rabada banned. Remember, he reached 4 demerit points. And you get
a point per indiscretion.
Here's Stokes bowling. It's clipped away by Hope for a single towards deep square. 304 for 5, and Hope goes to 140. So, I mean, the last thing England would want would be Stokes to get involved in something and be banned for, say, the first Ashes Test.
Do you know the actual?
We had this.
Andrew, do you know the point system, what they stand for?
Well, not exactly. You get obviously demerits for every offence, so some of them might be more than 1 point if it is a particularly bad offence. But
this is Stokes bowling to Blackwood, who drives, hits it hard into the ground, back to the bowler who fields. And
they double at Lords and stuff like that. That's far worse.
This isn't Scrabble. 2 2s on at the moment, Ben Stokes. Remember we had that discussion when it was a bit of confusion over there, 2 or 3s on 2 at the moment.
Yeah. So he's on 2 points. If you reach 4, then that's a
automatic
ban. Yeah,
3-match ban or 1-match ban.
Well, Rabada got a 1-match, didn't he? So I mean, say for example, he stepped over the line at Lords, then he could be banned for the first Test in Brisbane. So, or if he stepped over the line in Brisbane, he could be banned for Adelaide. So he has got to be careful. Stokes bowls. That's a remarkable whip shot down towards fine leg from Blackwood. Stokes stands in the middle of the pitch and thinks, how on earth did he do that?
Well, that's when the manager comes into it as well, hasn't it? You've got to, so off the field, you've got to talk to him and make sure he is keeping his head. There's been an example, I won't say who it is or what football team it is, because a few of you listening will want to watch Match of the Day this evening. But a certain footballer in the Premier League has been sent off today for his second bookable offence for celebrating a last-minute goal. There's the gaffer there. What are you doing? You're healthy fine for your player, isn't it?
Well, here's Stokes bowling, and it's defended by Hope into the offside, and there's no run. Well, we can't talk about the incident too much because people might want to watch it on Match of the Day later.
But just say a random play, if your team has just won in the last minute of sort of added on time, natural exuberance is you're going to want to celebrate wildly, but if you do something that gets you a booking, it's bang out of order. If Ben Stokes were to get Blackwood out now and celebrate wildly because he's having a bit of needle, you can't accept that as a captain and coach, can you?
Well, it's just sometimes difficult to control your emotions. Here's Stokes going in to bowl, and he's up on his toes there. Hope playing that defensively into the onside, and there's no run. I mean, there's a difference between a winning goal in the last minute and a wicket. I suppose it depends which wicket you're taking. If it's a wicket for a hat-trick ball or a end of the match in a tight game, then that's slightly different, isn't it? Anyway, 305 for 5. Nothing untoward in that over. It was all fairly calm, really. And West Indies pottering along towards the close with 5 overs left. And goodness me, they'd love to get through and just confirm a superb day for them today. It's already a pretty good day. If I'd said to them at the start 305 for 5,
bitten your hand off, haven't they?
19 for 1 at the start, and they are moving into a strong position in the game. From here, they'd love what minimum 100 lead. They'd love 150.
Yeah, I think he's spot on there. England have got to look anything less than 100 is a good performance from here.
Anderson bowls to Blackwood, who's forward playing defensively. Back to the bowler who picks up, and there's no run. One thing I was saying this earlier. One thing you just feel in West Indies' favour here is it's not one of those pitches that you think, oh, England will just go out and score 350 and 400 in their second innings. There is enough there. There's 1 or 2 have kept low. Well, it's a pitch that's kept batsmen.
It has kept them honest.
Yeah.
So well, the 2 bowlers who found the right length and bowled the right areas in the game.
Anderson bowls very full to Blackwood, who clip drives this to mid-on, where Broad stops it after a fashion, just falling over onto his knees. No run.
Both belong to the West Indies. Shannon Gabriel and Kemar Roach. So they do the same thing again. I think you hear a lot of people saying you've got to bowl full, you've got to bowl full. It is a ground where you induce the drive. You try and induce the players to drive, and you get a lot of catches to the grip. I don't know what the stats are, but it seems to be a lot more slip catches. Places like here in Brisbane are very similar.
Anderson outside the off-stump, attempt of a Blackwood who was minded to go after it, and then thought, well, close not too far away, I'll let that go. Taken by Bairstow between first and second slip as it swung away from the right-hander.
I'm not sure, Andrew, is there any way of finding that out, what the stats for caught behind the wicket are at Headingly compared to other test grounds? As we always used to say, look, we know that there's going to be a lot of catches behind the wicket this week, as opposed to, I don't know, the Oval, where there don't seem to be as many.
Anderson back to his mark. In he goes again. Bowls to Blackwood. Blackwood's in behind it, playing defensively back up the pitch. Anderson bends down to pick up, and there is no run. We've got 4 overs left in the day's play after this one. Blackwood in the last test match was dismissed by Moeen. Second innings stumped. I imagine that Root will
have a little look, yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, as I say that, I can see Moeen loosening up. Perhaps he will have a go. Here's Anderson bowling, full, and that's driven away by Blackwood. I think in the air, just lost the flight of it. It's gone for 4.
Yeah.
A remarkable shot over extra cover.
It was full by Anderson outside the off stump. Blackwood played that drive of his where he doesn't move his feet. He just lofts it over the top. Quite remarkable, really, but such is the manner of the dominance of the West Indies today. It wasn't greeted with much contempt by any of the England players. Jimmy Anderson just turned around and walked off. So, very fine shot. 2 bounces for 4 over extra cover.
Hit on the up, in the air. Blackwood to 10, 309 for 5. Anderson bowls full on the pads. He tries to clip it away and gets something on it. Goes down fine. Bairstow's after it, and they're through for a single. Is it just on the pad? Yes, it was. Signalled by umpire Gaffney. So 310 for 5. It means Blackwood is back on strike against Stokes? Question mark? Yes, it is going to be Stokes. He bowled his 21st over of the day. It's a busy test match. 100 yesterday and 21 overs today. So we've got 4 overs left. 310 for 5. The lead is 52. I said to Michael Vaughan earlier, if I'd offered, this was quite early in the day, if I'd offer you a lead of 65, Michael, as West Indies captain, would you take it? He said definitely. Well, it's going to be more than that, you think?
Yeah. But you would. You'd take any sort of lead, especially judging by the way Jimmy Anderson started last night and the way the ball swung this morning. I know it was only Bishoo, but they're not watchmen batting, but might as well have not a stick of rhubarb, but a bat with a big hole in it this morning. Missed everything. Then nicked one. You thought, well, this is going to be the start of a procession, but anything but.
Stokes to Blackwood again. He tries to swing this away on the leg side. I think this came off the hip, possibly via the inside edge. It goes down to fine leg. Moeen picks up and sends in the return. It is a leg by, just off the hip, the thigh pad of Blackwood. It's a shame, actually. He's off strike.
Well, one good thing for England today, fans have got their full 90 overs.
Yeah.
Stop that particular negative message going out again that annoys a few people here and there.
3.5 overs left in the day's play. 311 for 5. Hope on 140. Stokes bowls a bouncer to him. He ducks underneath it. It's taken by Bairstow. You have switched on for the first time today, been out for the day or whatever, and wondered what's happened. Well, Bishoo was out for 1, Hope for 3, it was 35 for 3, and then tremendous stand between Brathwaite and Shai Hope of 246. Before Brathwaite was bowled by Broad for 134, then Chase was caught by Cook at first tip off Stokes for 5. It was 296 for 5, 311 for 5 now. Stokes striving, bowls full, and a drive and a miss from Hope. That was nicked behind to the keeper territory there.
It's actually not bad for England at the end of the day, the way the West Indies are playing, because they are dominant and they are feeling like they've got their chests puffed out and looking to punish England. That can lead to chances. What I wouldn't want at this point is West Indies saying, no, 3.5 overs, we're going to block everything. We've won this day, we'll finish the day unscathed. I'd want them to take a few risks and potentially lose 1 or 2 more wickets.
Well, Stokes looking to make the breakthrough. Bowls to Hope, who's up on his toes, guiding that defensively towards cover. And there's no run. Those in the West Stand, it's thinned out over there. It may be to do with the fact that England haven't been taking wickets today, or it may be to do with the fact that it's now a complete shadow, so it might be cool over there on the right-hand side of the ground, left-hand side in sunshine. Lots of people have left early, or certainly not in their seats anyway.
We might have all gone to bed early to get up for the big fight, the World Sporting event in the morning.
Stokes bowls. Up on his toes again goes Hope, this time nudging it into the onside. Stokes is across quickly, seeking to deny him a single, and Stokes is successful. There is no run.
You'll be watching the big event tonight, big sporting event.
I might give that a miss.
Newcastle West Ham in Match of the Day.
Oh, that one. All right. You mustn't tell people what happened.
I don't know what happened. I've not seen the scores.
Here's Stokes running into bowl to Hope to complete the over. It's another short ball. He ducks underneath it. And that's the end of the over. So 3 left. Stokes 21 overs, 1 for 54. That was 87 miles an hour from Stokes. And well to rouse himself like that at this stage of the day after bowling 20.5 overs. 311 for 5, West Indies. The lead is 53. Moeen Ali, who's going to bowl, he is going to bowl before the close of play from the Kirkstall Lane end. No wicket for 57 from 18 overs. Well, as I said earlier, he did get Chase out stumped, Blackwood out stumped at Edgbaston last week. Stumped for 12. I can't believe he's going to run down the pitch with 3 overs left. As is a long on in, there's a deep cover, there's a deep backwards square leg, and 2 close catches. Very much an in-out field. Here is Moeen. Bowls to Chase, who drills him into the offside. Chase Blackwood. Chase on my mind.
Yeah.
Right to Stokes. That was hit to extra cover. Here's Moeen bowling to Blackwood, who's across his stumps defending, just covering any potential turn. We have seen 1 or 2 turn sharply into the right hand today, and he was across covering that. And dropped it into the offside. Bairstow stepped forward to pick up. Back with Moeen. Past the umpire he goes. Into bowl to Blackwood, and Blackwood drives, isn't timed. That scuff drive. Hitting it hard into the ground.
You see,
extra cover again.
It's
no
good
run.
what Moeen Ali is doing. He's floating it outside the off stump. He's trying to get it wide and get it to turn back inside the gate, inviting the drive. Blackwood is playing the game. He's going for these big drives every ball.
Blackwood watches Moeen come into bowl to him. That's driven up towards mid-off. He's off for the single, running with a shot broad, shies at the stumps. The non-striker's end misses, but that was good, positive running from Blackwood, taking Broad on. 1 more to the total. And Broad's still a pretty good fielder, but it was almost as though Blackwood was picking him out there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Stuart Broad. I'll take a
Decent
single.
field. Yeah, decent fielder, but no arm, no throw. So it's just good batting. That's especially one of the bowlers who's been fielding all day, bowling all day. He's going to be absolutely cream crackered by this stage. Yeah. So why not?
312 for 5. It was rather sad to see that happen to Sachin Tendulkar towards the end of his career.
He was just taking the single.
Yeah, oh, it's Sachin. I'll take a single. Here's Moeen to Hope down the leg side. Hope lets it go. Taken by Bairstow, squatting down behind the stumps away to his left-hand side.
It's sad for you to see. Imagine being Sachin himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Humiliation.
Well, it is a bit humiliating, isn't it? 312 for 5. 1 ball left in the over. Moeen bowls again, poorly directed down the leg side. This time turned away through backwards square leg for a single. They jogged through. Hope to 141, and West Indies to 313 for 5.
I think everyone at home who's played cricket or who plays cricket will have been a victim to this at some point during their career, when you misfield one or particularly bad bit of fielding, and you immediately get moved from your fielding position to somewhere less likely for the ball to go. Oh, I remember as a very young player in first-class cricket, I taught my way into the slips and I dropped a catch, only for the bowler at the end of his mark to go, "Skip, get him out." Loud as was the whole ground heard.
Who was the bowler?
Big Devendra Bishoo. Had to wander to third man.
It's Stokes to continue. He bowls to Hope up on his toes, defending a short ball into the onside, and there's no run. Andrew, you're going to answer that question that Graham posed 10, 15 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Well done. That was very good to get this in before the close of play.
Catches and slips and wicketkeeper by Venue. Leads is 12.3 a match, which is fairly high. There's a few higher than that, no?
Brisbane's
a little bit lower at 11.4. The Wanderers is the highest, 13.9.
Fast bouncy wicket.
Yeah. And actually Trent Bridge, funnily enough, is on 13.
Yes.
Stokes into bowl to Hope. Hope lets the ball go by. It's just outside the off stump. Good judgment.
That's over the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, Trent Bridge is definitely one, because the ball swings, doesn't it? So you tend to get the edges. Well, Jimmy Anderson bowls well there. Most of his wickets are caught behind, aren't they?
So in the last 10 years, Headingly is third on the list, is it?
Fifth.
Fifth on the list.
Perth and Durban are just ahead as well.
Right.
More or less right then. It's up there, isn't it?
Very well done, Andrew, I have to say.
That's incredible.
Come up with that stat in 10 minutes. This is Stokes bowling. It's full. It's driven into a gap on the offside. It won't be 4. It'll probably be 2, possibly 3. They're looking for 3. It's picked up towards extra cover by Malan out there. Sends in a beautiful return to Bairstow right by the bails, and they come back for 2. 315 for 5. Hope to 143.
I like to imagine when sort of Andrew turns to find out a stat like that, this sort of army of minions within the computer, all sort of at the ready, champing at the bit,
marching around.
Yeah, and then sprinting feverishly around, getting records from everywhere and putting them together, whipped into shape.
This is Stokes bowling to Hope. Hope on his toes, guiding that towards cover. It's stopped by Westley away to his left, and there's no run.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens.
Which would make you the evil overlord. You'd be Gru in this instance for those Despicable Me fans.
Yeah, basically.
So statistician of the year and evil overlord.
Overlord, yeah. Well done.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Very impressive.
This is Stokes bounding into bowl, and that's a full ball which is edged along the ground through the vacant third slip area for 4. And Hope gets a streaky boundary to take him to 147. No real reaction from Stokes other than to metaphorically raise the eyebrows and go, "Oh, not again," and walk back to his mark. 319 for 5. Our thoughts at this time of the day often turn to post-match reaction. I think we'll hear from Kraigg Brathwaite today, possibly Shai Hope as well. The rumours have been scotched that England are flying in Duncan Fletcher to do the post-match interview today for England.
Who do you think will get the gig tonight? I think Paul Farbrace.
Well, we're told one of the bowlers is going to come out and speak. But on a day like this, it's normally it used to be called a Duncan Day.
Yeah.
England have had a Duncan Day today. This is Stokes bowling outside the off stump. And there's no stroke from the batsman. That's through to the wicket-keeper Bairstow, and that is at the end of the over. So there is 1 over left in the day's play. It's 20 past 6. We are going to finish before 6:30 tonight. 319 for 5. West Indies 61 runs ahead. That's a bit like blowers, actually.
My dear old thing.
Does that noise sometimes?
Well, I can only think that the one man I'd put up from the bowling attack would be Westley.
Who has contributed how many overs? It's 4 overs for 12.
But a bowler nonetheless. Imagine if he rocked up. The shrug of shoulders throughout the press corps would be visibly noted. No, I don't think Jimmy will do it. I can't see Stuart Broad taking his boots off too quickly. It'll be Woakes, or it'll be Stokes.
No, Woakes did this morning.
So it's not him. Stokes, he won't do it. He got his 100 yesterday. He would have done it yesterday.
We think
it might be Mo.
Yeah, it might be Mo.
Honestly, if the press officer for England has got anything about him, he'll send Westley in. And I know he can hear me. Come on, do it, do it, do it.
Right, Moeen to begin the final over of the day. He's bowling to Blackwood, who's on 11. West Indies 61 runs ahead. Blackwood waits. Moeen bowls to him. He drives this back down the pitch, and Moeen goes away to his right and stops it, and there's no run. England have a long on in. Is Anderson
Not
moving
anymore.
up? No, they're moving him in to a mid-on, saying to Blackwood, go on then. Go over the top. He's fenced in at the moment, Blackwood. Lots of players saving one. A couple of close catches. Just tempting him to go for a big shot in the last over. Moeen goes in, and Blackwood crashes a square with the wicket for 4. There's a gap between cover and backward point, and he found it. I don't think it was perfectly hit, but there was real intent in the stroke. England will need to get him out tomorrow, otherwise he could do some serious damage. He's 15 not out, 323 for 5, and there's also the captain to come in, who's no slouch, especially in these circumstances as well.
Yeah, it's a bit too wide for Moeen Ali. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to throw it up, tempt the drive, but got to get your length right. That was too full, too wide.
Moeen bowls. Back goes Blackwood, covering a ball that turned in from outside the off stump, guided it to backward point, and there is no run.
It's a very drunken happy birthday rendition going down there. Happy birthday indeed to whoever you are, if you can hear us. You can understand us by this stage of the day.
3 balls left. Moeen bowls to Blackwood. He stretches right for. That's a nice looking defensive shot. They'll reassure the West Indies dressing room. Of course, if wicket falls now, no one else will be required. That will be it. West Indies desperately hoping that the wicket doesn't fall off the last 2 balls of the day. England making a change to the field, bringing a man in on the offside. Another close catcher. So a silly point, not wearing a helmet. Slip, short leg, silly point. Actually, having said that, Bairstow tosses a helmet. Who is that who's gone in at silly
Westley,
point?
isn't it?
Could well be. I think you'd also want a box as well, though, wouldn't you? Fielding.
Oh, you're all right, silly point. You don't need a helmet in box.
You don't need a helmet or a box.
No, just get in there. You can jump out the way. You can just see the shape of the shot and jump
turn
out the
around,
way.
and turn your body around.
Yeah.
Moeen bowls to Blackwood, who pushes that away into the offside for runs. Broad has to chase it back towards the wide long off boundary. They've gone for 2. Broad picks it up. They're looking for 3. They're looking to torture him, but he gets the ball away and sends in the return. So 2 runs. The lead is 67. 1 ball left in the day. Blackwood's played in sprightly fashion. Root just lagging this out, comes over to have a chat with Moeen. 2 batsmen having a chat in mid-pitch. West Indies scored over 300 in the day. 306 for 4. Riches. That's a good day's Test cricket by any side, batting anywhere in the world.
A field change for the last ball. Alastair Cook's wandering up from 45 on the 1, short fine leg to a leg slip. Joe Root's popped himself from square leg just behind square. So 4 men round the bat.
Here goes the last ball of the day. Moeen to bowl. It's way down the leg side. It's a horrible ball. Swatted away by Blackwood for 4. And that puts the cherry on the icing for West Indies. 4 runs off the last ball of the day. 329 for 5. They lead by 71 runs. Great day for Shai Hope and Kraigg Brathwaite. Hope finishes undefeated, 147 not out. Blackwood is on 21. Good game for England to win from here. West Indies on top as they walk off after 2 days.
Absolutely. West Indies finished 71 runs ahead in the first innings after 2 days, with plenty still left in the tank. Shai Hope hitting the last ball for a distinctly average delivery. Summed up a distinctly average day for England, I think. They tried, they toiled, but they ultimately failed to produce anything like the performance we saw at Edgbaston. The West Indies, on the other hand, magnificent. You can hear the round of applause. Simon, talk us through that.
Yeah, Shai Hope walking off, bat raise. He's been clapped off by his non-striking partner Blackwood. And his heart will be beating with pride after that day's batting. Shai Hope, magnificent stuff from him. He'll be back tomorrow for more. And England have been really challenged by West Indies today against, I think, all expectations. Even Fazir didn't have a great deal of hope before this Test match. He's seen so much West Indies cricket, but a brilliant day for them. And we've got a real contest in this Test match. England have been challenged, and can they fight back? We've seen one-sided test matches all the way this summer, and this one is, if England were 329 for 5 against West Indies 258, so was another one-sided game. England getting a big lead, and then West Indies under pressure and bowl them out. But can England buck the trend of the summer and fight back in this test match? But great position for West Indies. 71 runs ahead. Brilliant partnership between Brathwaite and Hope of 246. What we're going to do is bring Michael in. We're going to do our review of the day. The crowd making their way from Headingly after a day of West Indian domination. It's about rolling back the years, really. Any test match England played against the West Indies between 1973 and 1998. England been on top since then, generally speaking, but not today. Fantastic day for West Indies. So close of play, second day of the second test match at Headingley, and West Indies are on top. They lead by 71. They're 329 for 5. Centuries from Shai Hope and Kraigg Brathwaite. They've put them in a very strong position. Stand of 246 after West Indies slipped to 35 for 3. I think we thought it was going to be the same old story, but they have played splendidly. And England under pressure in this test match, Michael Vaughan.
Yeah, I mean, it was a day for the West Indies. What 2 days, when you think about what happened at Edgbaston, the response, and you're looking at the way that they've batted today. It's been discipline, it's been of grit, determination, picking the right balls to score off. But you look back to yesterday and the way that Shannon Gabriel and Kemar Roach set up this kind of opportunity for the West Indies. The morning session, it did plenty. I just don't think England quite got it right. You kind of look at the morning session, you kind of look at the whole day and think, right, what could England have done any better or differently? And the one thing I look back to is maybe, and you can understand why all the slips were in place, because the ball was doing plenty. You put 4 or 5 slips because you want the outside edge. But now and again, as a captain, as a team, you've got to kind of understand that it's not happening and think, wait a minute, maybe if we put one of the slips at extra cover and just get the ballers to bowl that little bit fuller and give them some protection, it might have helped. But you've got to give all the credit to the batsmen. Shai Hope and Kraigg Brathwaite in particular, because he saw that tricky period last night through. I thought it was wonderful batting. It was at times very tough, and then they capitalised when the sun started to shine. The ball got a bit softer and older. They attacked aggressively at times when they realised it was the right time to go after a certain bowler. And then when the second new ball was taken later on in the day, the sun was shining. It was perfect conditions for batting. And they've had a day where England have been out in the dressing room. And yesterday was the day that we really let this slip. The batting of England. Once again, I mean, it's been good for 3 test matches, but there's still that fragility about England's batting, that if they come up against a little bit of movement or a little bit of pace in someone like Shannon Gabriel, they're still suspect for getting bowled out quite cheaply. And, England's problem, as much as they could have bowled a bit better today, was yesterday, was just 258 on the deck.
So we can rule out complacency?
I don't think it was. I think maybe overconfidence. Some of the shots you saw yesterday from the England players was maybe shots of overconfidence, trying to dominate and take their hands towards the ball, where the conditions were that the ball was moving around yesterday, maybe a little bit the old school way, but you kind of just looking always in a way of saying, oh, England did so much wrong, or they didn't bowl well, or they batted badly. The batting was poor and the bowling hasn't been to the highest standard, but I think it's the day to really look at this partnership of Shai Hope and Kraigg Brathwaite, and they've been outstanding. I look back.
What did they do well, Michael?
They played the ball late. And at Headingley, when the ball's moving around, you have to play it as late as possible. You have to play the ball right under the eye line. And you look at the way Shai Hope drove the ball, it was right under the eye line. You look at the way Kraigg Brathwaite plays that cut shot, but it's right under his eye line. He plays it so late, and then he gets the ball right close to him and he flicks it on the onside. And then he kind of says to the ball, go on, you have to bowl it a bit fuller. And then he just dips his head. He doesn't get a massive stride in. He doesn't get huge, his left foot miles towards the ball. He just gets a little dip of that head and plays with a nice straight bat. Again, I'm looking at Kraigg Brathwaite, and having watched him all day against the seamers, against the spinners, he dances down and hits it down the ground. Against the seamers, I didn't see him score 1 run down the ground. I didn't see him hit the ball past mid-off and mid-on. I saw a lot of balls go through kind of cover point, extra cover at best, and I thought a few balls go through mid-wicket and square leg. I didn't see anything go straight down the ground. So 2 things, he doesn't play that way, he doesn't like to hit down the ground. So Joe Root, the message I would say to him, look, when he bats again, and hopefully England will make him bat in the second inning for England's case, put your mid off and mid on really wide. And say to Kraigg Brathwaite, just give him something visually that he didn't see in the first innings. Lob him really wide, put your mid off to extra cover, put your mid on to mid-wicket and say to him, down the ground's your option. You can try and score down the ground. Try and make him do or think to something that he's not been able to think like in the first innings. And that's the only thing I can see from him. It might always encourage England to bowl that a little bit differently to him, a bit fuller. And I think that would be probably the message from Otis Gibson to the English bowler tonight would be, probably could have bowled a yard fuller. Kemar Roach yesterday, I think if you look at the Hawkeye data and the pitch maps, he bowled a yard fuller than the England team did, probably apart from Jimmy Anderson, who again bowled very nicely. Woakes struggled, Stuart Broad struggled, bowled a little bit too short. He had a couple of decent spells when he was almost bowling cutters. Ben Stokes bowled short pretty much throughout the day, but they were using him as that difference, that kind of different approach, trying to hit the pitch hard and rather than just float them up there. He was used to the kind of different kind of style bowler. But overall, I'd say England bowled a little bit too short, but I just think Shai Hope and Kraigg Brathwaite were just too good for them today.
Yeah, they played splendidly. Joe Root's had one difficult test match this summer, that game at Trent Bridge when England lost by 340 runs. What about his performance today?
Well, as I said, he could have possibly gone to one less slip and put an extra cover in place and got the field a bit straighter. He could have opened up down the ground to Kraigg Brathwaite, and noticed that Kraigg Brathwaite wasn't interested at all of hitting the seamers down the ground. He was playing it so late. And these are things that you learn as you do the job that little bit more so. I mean, he'll be in that dressing room scratching his head, thinking, oh, could I bowled X or could I bowled Y? Jimmy Anderson 2 overs with the new ball, then he was kind of taken out of the attack for 55 minutes and then brought back to the other end. Little things like that. Could he have bowled Jimmy for 2 or 3 more overs with that second new ball? But tactically, I don't think there was a huge amount wrong other than maybe just going with one less slip. I just don't think the bowlers had a great day. And more so, the batsmen yesterday had a really poor day, and that's the reason why England are in such a poor position.
Yeah. So how do they pull this around? I mean, in the obvious way, take 5 crickets and get a big score. But what we haven't seen this summer, we haven't seen teams fighting back in test matches.
Well, in a funny kind of way, I look at the scenario that England are in now, and it's probably the best scenario for them to develop. You're looking at the batsmen that are under pressure. You've got Stoneman, you've got Westley at 3, you've got Malan at number 5. Well, in the second innings, they're going to be under pressure because of their places in the side, but more so, they're going to be under pressure because of the game situation. Now, all 3 of those players have to look at this opportunity as a huge positive. If they go out in the second innings and score runs and get England back into the test match and get a lead and go on and win the game, and they've been 1 or 2 of the individuals that have scored 100 under that kind of pressure, well, there's your plane ticket book for Australia. If they're thinking about the situation now, going, oh no, we're under pressure, the team are in a bad situation, if we fail tomorrow, the England team may lose the test match and there will be changes, they'll be gone. Look at it as a positive. Whoever scores runs in the second innings for England will guarantee a place on that plane.
Well, let's get some reaction from the England camp now. Dan Norcross is with Jimmy Anderson.
Yes, I got Jimmy Anderson with me. Jimmy, 19 wickets the last time you were bowling in a day against the West Indies. 4 wickets today. What was the difference?
Well, we didn't bowl as well, and they batted a lot better. I think it was pretty simple, really. It was a frustrating day for us. I thought we started very well. Conditions were in our favour this morning with the cloud cover and the floodlights on, and the ball was moving around quite a bit. But then, when the sun came out, the pitch got a bit slower, and I guess we bowled well in patches. We put some balls in the right area, but we didn't do it consistently enough, and there were too many balls for them to sort of release the pressure, and the 2 guys who got hundreds batted really well.
You alluded to not bowling well enough. Is that about a length? Is it not getting it full enough, or what, in those conditions, especially in the morning when it was really moving around?
Yeah, I thought we put a lot of balls in the right area in the morning, actually. We beat the bat a bit. We had some edges that didn't quite carry to the slips. So it's just one of those things, really, that, when that happens, you've got to try and stick at it and hope that your rewards come later in the day. But we didn't keep creating that pressure throughout the day. We let them off the hook quite a lot. It's not a minefield by any stretch of the imagination. It's a good pitch. The 2 guys that got 100 showed that, and on a flat pitch, you've got to create pressure. You can't look to bowl jaffers all the time. You've got to try and set fields accordingly, be boring at times if you have to, and try and create pressure that way, and we just didn't do that quite well enough.
A couple of words about the two batsmen, two really good centuries there, and they didn't really hint at doing that in the last match. Here, they looked impregnable.
Yeah, they played well. Like I said, when the sun came out, the pitch it felt very slow. Even with the second new ball, it felt slow, and I think you need a bit of zip. Even when it's swinging, you need a bit of something off the pitch to try and get that edge, and we didn't have that. They played really well in the conditions, and they played exactly to the conditions.
And any hint at all of complacency or overconfidence? I mean, when you've taken 19 wickets, you're sort of half expecting them to roll over.
No, not at all. We, as a bowling group, we pride ourselves on creating pressure all the time. Whether there's, at Edgbaston there was lots of movement, and we put a lot of balls in the right area. Here we've not done that. We've created a little bit of pressure, and then we'll bowl a short and wide ball that gets hit for 4. So it's kind of it's frustrating in a way, but there's certainly no complacency on our part.
Now you looked at tomorrow morning. I haven't seen the forecast yet for tomorrow morning, and if the clouds roll in again, then you've got a chance again to nibble out those 5 wickets early. What's the sort of lead that you start to get despondent?
I don't think the lead's particularly an issue. There's plenty of time left in this game. We've just got to bat very well second innings when that comes around, and we've got, like you say, first thing in the morning, whether there's cloud or not, we've got to bowl better than we did today. We've got to try and ask questions of their batsmen if we can, and stay patient if it doesn't happen, and try and squeeze their runs, not let them get away, and get a big lead. So that's something it's really important for us in the morning.
And lastly, a little bit of turn. I mean, Moeen was getting some balls to turn really extravagantly. They played him well by getting outside the line of the off stump, but he was really getting it to turn. That's, I suppose, a source of hope for the 4th innings.
Yeah, I think that something that always plays a part here at Headingely, and it's part of the reason we batted first, because we know that 4th innings it will spin. And it's spun all the way through first 2 days, so I think that'll continue throughout the game, and that's why it's crucial we can try and bowl them. If we can bowl them out for less than 125 run lead, that, I think if we bat well, that puts us well in the game.
Well, Jimmy, thanks ever so much for that. You managed to do that against Pakistan last year. You conceded a lead of over 130 and won at Edgbaston, so all hope is not yet lost.
Cheers. Thank you.
That's Daniel Norcross with Jimmy Anderson. Anderson 3 for 46 from 23 overs. Dan makes a good point there. England did turn it around at Edgbaston, but at the moment, this game sort of has a bit of a feel of England against Pakistan at the Oval at the end of the summer, when Pakistan got a big score and put England under pressure. Unexpectedly won that Test match. It's funny, isn't it? England they've got good players, and they seem in good positions in series. And yet they can't. Today was an example. The last couple of days, they haven't got that consistency, Michael.
That's been a frustration for the Test team for quite a few years now. It's 1 week where you're kind of talking how great they are, and they're onto something that's could be very special. You looked at that first Test performance against South Africa, then went to Trent Bridge, and for whatever reason, only the team can be honest about it, they didn't perform at Trent Bridge. Then the next 2 Test matches had a lot of criticism. They played so well. They played so well last week. This is different, though. You have to be completely honest. This is, to play poorly against the South Africa team, you can go, you can have bad weeks against that kind of quality. England are miles better at Test match cricket than the West Indies. And to play so poorly for the first 2 days, you've got to give the West Indies a huge amount of credit. But this England side, with that amount of batting, with Chris Woakes coming in at number 9, should not be getting bowled out for 258. And an England team with Anderson, Broad, Stokes and Woakes, all consistent, all experienced Test match cricketers, shouldn't really be having a day. They might have the odd hour, but they shouldn't be having a day like they've had today, where they bowled so poorly. Yes, they had the odd spell. Jimmy just mentioned it there, didn't he, in the morning session. I felt at times they were a bit unfortunate. They beat the outside edge. The odd edge didn't carry through to the slip, but I will say 2 or 3 of the edges that didn't carry through to the slip was because the paces were at 81 miles an hour. The reason why you have 4 seamers in your team is because you can up your paces. You can bowl that little bit quicker. If it means that you bowl 1 over less of your spell, you do so. And that's all part of being lucky. I was lucky as a captain. I had 4 seamers, and every time, you'd look at the 4 of them and say, look, just give me that bit extra, and I'll just bowl you 1 less over. You've got 4 and we can rotate. And that's probably why the slips didn't carry. Yet they didn't put their hands towards the ball like the England players did yesterday. They played it nice and late. So again, credit to the batsmen. But You know, it is frustrating when you see so much talent in the England side, and they played so well leading into this game that, you know, you look at Headingely actually now, he lost to New Zealand, understand that, but they lost to Sri Lanka here a few years ago, and they are in a battle here against the West Indian side that I wrote them off, everyone wrote them off after Edgbaston. There's absolutely no one in the world that gave the West Indies any hope here at Headingley. There's no one in the world gave any hope that the West Indies would produce a double century partnership and play with so much style like they have done today. So all the credit to the West Indies, and in a funny way I'm intrigued to see how the England team bounce back from it. You know, in the winter in Australia, you know, they will probably be in situations like this. You know, they're not going to have it all their own way. They're not going to have it like they had it against the, you know, South Africans in the last 2 games and last week at Edgbaston. They will have to fight. They'll have to come from behind. This is the perfect practice. And as I said before, you know, 3 players under a huge amount of pressure. Tom Westley, Stoneman and Malan. Go out and get 100 in the second innings. If you do so, you've done it under pressure for your place. You've done it under pressure in the game situation. And as I said, you'll guarantee a nice big pink ticket on the way to Australia. You get a nice comfy chair, you get a bed. Now go and get 100 and get on the plane.
Jimmy was saying there, you know, hopefully we can limit them to a 125 run lead. What sort of lead do you think really begins to punish England as far as, you know, first innings lead and making it really difficult in that second innings?
Well, I think it's punishing now. You know, I think that the difference from the West Indies last week to this week, you know, in particular in the bowling, is Shannon Gabriel. You know, he's the kind of ball that I look and I wouldn't want to face, you know, and if he gets it right and clicks, he can go through any team. So it's nasty now for the England side, but, you know, if they get a 125 lead, you know that someone like Alastair Cook, Joe Root's going to have to get a big 100. You know, if they don't, you've got a sense that England could be in trouble in this Test match. Full credit to the West Indies. One thing's for sure, it's a damn sight more interesting this week than it was last week.
Absolutely, so say all of us. It is an intriguing Test match with 3 days left. You thought no real prospect of a draw. One team is going to win in this game. At close of play here, just a reminder, West Indies are 329 for 5 with Hope 147 not out, and they have a lead of 71 going into the 3rd day of this Test match.